Levi, Chaim. This is unser Simcha. This is our Simcha this day. Chaim, Reuven. So Moedeke Maisa. Aber Pinchas Reizes. Pinchas Reizes is given. The Pinchas Reizes is from the Alter Rebbe's Chassidim. From the Gar Grois Chassidim. The Pinchas Mishklov. And the Pinchas actually called Reizes al Shem his Shviger, similar to the Marshals. He had the most gehalten of Kest. And the Pinchas Reizes once joined Alter Rebbe. Pinchas Reizes once joined Alter Rebbe on a big Nesiya. They traveled together. I don't know if it was Taf Kufayim, but there were times that Alter Rebbe traveled. So it was a trip. Pinchas Reizes, if I'm not mistaken, Pinchas Reizes didn't have children, and he joined Taf Kufayim, and he stood between him and the Baruch Mezbuzer. They were arguing. He was arguing with Alter Rebbe, and the Pinchas Reizes told him, "If you come with me, I'll give you kinder." If I'm not mistaken, I need to check the pratim. And he stayed with Alter Rebbe. So he was. This is the story I want to share. He was once traveling with Alter Rebbe, and his wife prepared for him a pekala.
A what?
Pekala.
Package.
The package.
Had inside the mezainis for the way. And in the middle of the way, in the middle of traveling, he opened his thing and started eating whatever it was. It was cookies of sorts. And as we know, the Alter Rebbe in Seder, the Alter Rebbe is in the Siddur is very makpid. The Siddur, more than the Shulchan Aruch, is makpid on certain types of mezainis that we shouldn't consider them pasabah b'kisnin because it's a suffix. And b'meila, the Alter Rebbe writes about certain mezainis that Baal Nefesh should be a Baal Nefesh, a person that holds in high regard his soul and lives by it, should not eat ela b'seich hasuda. Only in the middle of the suda he should eat such mezainis. So the Alter Rebbe turns to Rebbe Pinchas and asks him, weiß nicht, was ich schreibe in Siddur. He was eating mezainis. He asked him, "You don't know what I wrote in the Siddur?" So Rebbe Pinchas answered Alter Rebbe. Imagine sitting in a wagon with Alter Rebbe, the Mechaber. So he answered Alter Rebbe, "Ich halte sich nicht für a Baal Nefesh." I don't hold myself that I'm on a level of a Baal Nefesh. So the Alter Rebbe said, "If you wollt nicht gewinnen kein Baal Nefesh, you think what they're reingenommen in mein Wagen? If you didn't hold yourself a Baal Nefesh, you think we wouldn't take you?" So I want to share with each and every one of us what I'm thinking. That the Rebbe invited each and every one of us to join his tanks. It's not a joke. And Sachmol, each one thinks money. And I want to share with you that the Rebbe took us to join him in the Avodah of Deir Hashvi. Each one to their degree, to their dedication, etc. And what that goes to tell us is that the Rebbe holds of us that we are Baal Nefesh. The Rebbe looks at us that we're shy to way beyond what we consider. And on this day, that we rededicate ourselves to the Avodah of Deir Hashvi, each and every one of us, this is the day that we wrote the Ksavis Kashrus. We the people, right? Mamlech Ein Melech B'Layam. We accepted the Rebbe as the Rebbe. And it's a day that we recommit to the mission statement of Deir Hashvi, Lo Yirida Lamata Ba'aretz, the Shechina should be b'tachtonim. And it's a Moshe Rabbeinu. Between all the Rabbi Seinu and Sienu, we were zoichet to Nasha Taman, to such a general to the Rebbe. But I think what we need to remember and stay focused on is that you think if you weren't a Baal Nefesh, we tend to underestimate ourselves based on our experience of yesterday, mind you, and we have facts to support it. But it's not called facts to support it. It's called tirutzim. Because when a person is capable, it's not called a raya that he can't. It's called a teretz. And b'meila, when the Rebbe says, the Alter Rebbe gesagt to Pinchas Reizes, if you think you weren't a Baal Nefesh, you were chosen for Deir Hashvi. If you were chosen Lo Yirida Lamata Ba'aretz, Baal Nefesh is one thing. Baal Nefesh is a big thing. Baal Nefesh means you're shayach. People are shayach. It's within their reach. Oh, Roin. Farbengen would not be complete without you. Let's say l'chaim together. Michal. We're all Deir Shvi. We're all together in this, and we're all B'Shava. Plastic, join us. Join us. This is our Suda.
I know that story.
Asher klape ma, klape again, and I want to point out it's not only legabe bali nefesh. Bali nefesh means we're bali darga. We tend to we tend to underestimate. Yes, we're going all in. We are going. So nicht me and Yossi. We're all. I mean, Deir Shvi is all or nothing. We're going all in. Chaim Nachum. You know what's all in? A shliach, Nachum, right? You go. I was once sitting in when I was in Koil, Manhattan, by Rabbi Metzger. So they had a session. It was like they made like an elite Shabbaton for leaders of then it was Chabad on campus. Like they have the lead students. That's enough. We're not gonna take off without the rain. So they had like a Shabbat, like a weekend for the leading students. And they made a session for Shabbat for a philanthropist. So that, why did they invest in Chabad? And there were two philanthropists and George Rohr. And I want to tell you, it was Yoshana ben Achaychim. I'm telling you as an observer. I was in the Koilel. I was there just to help, give they came as the leadership and of these Chabad fraternities. And I remember why you invest in Chabad. I remember each one was asked like how the economy crash hit them. It was right after Rosh Hashanah. What year was it? Samachas, 2008, when the economy crashed. So each one, how they were hit and how they still give. And other ones were explaining the Grace of Chachma, why they weren't hit. And he got up and said, I was hit hard. And I give more than I give, because this is the way the Eibishter gives.
The best bang for the buck, he said.
Yeah. He spoke emes. It was very nice. But one thing he said, why you invest? So one of the questions posed to him was, why you invest in Chabad? So he said this, I don't know who taught it to him, but he said the following. He said, told it to him. He said, a shliach goes to a town, what's the first thing he invests in? The first thing he invests in is buying 2 plots. He said, you invest in these people. These people, there's no other option than success. Understand? There's no other option. It's like the American Army had this slogan, burn your bridges, which was like, after you go onto enemy soil, you plots the bridges behind you, there's no way back. Either you're going back in a coffin or you're en matzav acher. You understand? There's no matzav of not being victorious. Deir Shvi l'ridul mata ba'aretz. What do you think the Alter Rebbe was invested in both? If you're thinking about the places on who we're standing, it's a joke to think otherwise, right? Elamai. Sometimes we don't think we're the Baalei Nefesh. Sure, we were talking about us. Could be. Asher l'chein zakt Alter Rebbe, and this is what the Rebbe tells each and every one of us. If you were in a Baalei Nefesh, we have to believe in ourselves the way the Rebbe believes in us. But Yid looks at himself the way the Rebbe zetach chelik elakami mal. The Rebbe looks at us. The nefesh alakis. What's a nefesh alakis? The whole world in front of a nefesh alakis is klipas hashum. It's mamish nothing. The nisyonis. How could a nisyon be something? You created it. Your chelik elakami mal mamish in graba oisius means you are a slice of the Creator. And when the Rebbe looks at you in such a oifin, the hava minute that, yesterday wasn't such a good day, and I slept in, and whatever, and the Allah Zachem, standing in front of the Rebbe, they dissipate. Because the Rebbe believes, but I'm saying even a Malamed. When a Malamed, a teacher in a classroom, goes over to a boy and asks him a question, and he believes the child knows the answer. He really believes that he knows the answer. The Talmud is going to produce. He's going to produce. He believes in him. There has been no chassid that went into the Rebbe for Yechidus that came out with less work. It never happened. The Rebbe should say, Rabbi Yossi, you know what? We know wie das doch verbrennt Nächten und Nächten. 2 weeks take off. And you know what? I have nothing to add. Loi hoya loi lam is a laya. Afal pike, you never find the chassid coming out of Yechidus less energized. Why? Because if the Rebbe gives you a tafkid, it's because the Rebbe believes. The Rebbe believes. You're shaykh to them. Tata got a call. You know that? Tata Merdetzelt. He got a call. This is a Zayda. Rav Shiri Yuzevich got a call. And about after Sheshes Hayamim, when they reconquered the old city, he got a call. The Rebbe wanted he should take over at Tzemach Tzedek. So he was till then running Teres Emes. And a call from Rabbi Chadakov. And the Lashon, if I remember correctly, the way Tata told me, Rav Shiri Yuzevich, for quoting purpose. By uns is the say there, as Imitzer was tut a good job, and ein Sach geht man ihm zu mehr. And B'meila comes the suggestion you should take on a koilo, which in terms of Rabbi Sobel could explain us what's a golden group that days, you know? And the Nekuda is nobody came out with less work. But everybody came out on fire. Why? Because the Rebbe is a suggestion, it's not on a sinas koyach, and a sinas koyach sounds too high. Sounds too high. The Rebbe's suggestion is Pashit. It's not because the Rebbe has a chush in Avos Yisrael and the Rebbe Pashit believes in people because the Rebbe hat lib yidden hat the Rebbe. People walk out from the Rebbe believes in a nefesh elokis. The world will not be complete without you. Yeah? And if the Rebbe nehmt uns rein in sein Wagen, bist du a Baal Nefesh. And Baal Nefesh is a hoiche darge, it's true. And we are shaykh to the highest things, and we are shaykh to the greatest things. Elamai, Mama Akiv, what gets in the way? Everybody could agree with me, the only thing that gets in the way is yours truly.
Very good.
Yeah. No joke, the Yetzer Hara. I want to tell you,
This is a mini rabbi.
the only thing that gets in the way is yours truly. Each and every one of us. What sits between both ears. That's what gets in the way. And if we key in to be the Rebbe believes in us, the whole world becomes Klippas Hashem. Elamai. We have to hear the Rebbe saying, the Nasi of Deir Shvi is saying, Ebdu wills nicht gewen a Baal Nefesh. You think in my generation you would have been from mine soldaten? And just that machshava, I want to tell you, sometimes the Rebbe could turn into, if saying by the younger Dor, if you don't verbring about this, that's what happened. Why do we have pictures of the Rebbe? It's Moire de Kivar. And Rabbi Jacobson was once standing in front of a fire squad. He was by a crowd that were shooting questions, and it was gruesome. It was nicht. And he answered an answer that Ladaiti was hechet. I don't know hechet from him, but it was since Yadal Bruach Mimara. It was a hechet answer. That's the why in a Lubavitcher house, every direction you take a picture, you have 3 pictures of the Rebbe. Every angle. Was different. It sounds a little excessive, right? It sounds a little bit, they use the nuschais that I'm not going to use. Fahrenheit and Kodesh. So he asked, it was an honest question. He asked, so how many mirrors do you have in your house? Like that. How many mirrors do you have? So honest question gets an honest answer. Kamayim upon. Yana macht a cheshbon. It wasn't a Lubavitcher. So there's a mirror by the entrance, and there's a mirror in the dining room by the china closet, and near you where you wash, and when you come out of the bathroom, where you go in the bathroom, and in his room, and outside his room. He raked up 15 mirrors. So he asks him, why do you need 15 mirrors? Based on you have steak is how you look. His pictures are you also. Why do you need 15? So he said, listen, I have to look my best. Before every new stage, I want to make sure I'm presentable. It's an honest answer. Well done. It's intellectually honest. I want to look appropriate for the next. Come out of the bathroom. You're going to wash before a suda. Before you come out of the kitchen, you leave the house. You come to that. So he tells him, "Of us are dear that before every stage in life, a chassid wants to look at the way he could look. The Rebbe is doch a neshama. The Rebbe is doch a neshama that shines through the guf. If we were able to get the Rebbe is doch, the Alter Rebbe in Tanya explains that a tzaddik is not created for himself. Tzaddik is amad b'shasl machol der to be a oizer simin legila lekus ba'olam. We should know vizat is gila lekus. We don't cry over the matzah in Eretz Yisrael. We kracht and we read a kapitel Tillim. If it's Rachmana Litzlan, Mishpacha, then all of a sudden it's upset. Rebbe veint. That's a neshama that looks at a matzah.
The Rebbe it's always mishpacha.
It's not even Mishpacha. By the Rebbe, it's his toe. It's his Shel Yaakov Avinu. We have a Rebbe that says then how our neshama would look at things if it didn't have the grubber clip of the guf. So he tells him, what do you care if before every stage we look at how Merkenenoizen, how we could look. This is how we would look. You see the Rebbe daven? There's nothing else. No, I was today by an hour with the Rebbe, by the Tmimin.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I want to tell you, wie ich bin reingefallen, is noch a shaila. I mean, einmal tamim, but I took the oldest grade in our cheder, so I said, I'll go. I want to tell you, no one was taking out cell phones and selfieing. There was barely Zelten, smartphones. And it was an hour with the Rebbe. It was an hour with the Rebbe. It wasn't an hour with the smartphone and the Rebbe. There's certain things that, I'm getting carried away. What's the Rebbe say? What is it? If we would look at ourselves the way the Rebbe looks at us, the way a neshama looks at a yid, you know how a neshama looks at a yid? How does a neshama look at a yid? How does a neshama look at a yid? He's a l'chelik elikami mal mamash. That means that the whole Welt is klippas hashum. You know what it looks like in a day-to-day? A yid gets up in the morning. A whole Messiah is not a heketimtza in front of him. It's not, has no, what's haste? Klippas hashum is, it's nothing. I created you, b'chlal. In Hebrew, vayigdala am lafifon vayitzak ala ganan. Mr. b'chlal. I put you in a place. A yid, a chassid, a yid, that he has a Rebbe. Rebbe Shluchim. A yid. I'm Zeicha. I want to tell you, I'm Zeicha to be on his Vad. This is, I come Lamaila one thing. Ich bin on Baruch Shalom's Vad. The claim to fame. It's the only thing I have to say for myself. Weiser Yella. Wolf, Rabbi Wolf. From Great Neck, he's a shliach to the hospital LIJ. LIJ. And Yidden get stuck, the Eibush is lop hitting. The Eibush hit up. The Eibush hit up, he placed the shliach there. The Rebbe's mentioned. I mean, so the Nakuda is that if we would look at ourselves the way the Rebbe looks at us, and look, halavai, I'm saying you can't say about Biu Ba'Shem. We get up in the morning, and we had Zaidi Reuben and Moshe Reuben, Anshei Moshe, Moshe Reuben like Zog said, Kaperna mention. Once used to be lead in a cap, eyes in a cap and lead in a bike. They had caps from eisen, iron heads, and lead in a bike. Zaid in a cap, lead in a muggen. Zaid in a cap. Good, very good. Zaid in a cap. Zaiden is silk. Very able at dakas the kechilukim on eisen a bike. The iron stomachs. Heint is eisen a cap on lead in on Zaid in a bike. Today the cap till something gets in, it's eisen. And Zaid in a bike. What do you eat? Like, what don't you eat? Ich bin very sensitive. Gluten. The kinwa from Time Chetzvim. The Nakuda is, and I want to tell you, Medi mentioned, if we were not from Deiras, if we were not Bali Nefesh, I would include you in my Vagen Zakta Rebbe. We have to believe it. We get up in the morning, I want to tell you, and we remember all the days before. If we would get up and look at ourselves the way the Nasi, the Rebbe, looks at us, that's what we have pictures of the Rebbe. That's where I'm getting. But that's the mirror. If we would look at ourselves the way the Rebbe looks at us, the ganze Welt is Klippas Hashum. Is nothing. How could something get in the way of the Eibishter? It's Kfira B'Achdusa Yisbarach. It's Kfira B'Achdusa Yisbarach to believe that anything. And when a Yid comes from Azah, Kiseitzel Muhammad Aloi Becha, the whole, it's embarrassing to be the Rebbe's a soldat. And aber what's Yena gonna say? And how is that gonna play out? The whole Daiga, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. That's our avodah. The Mendel's avoid. We have to remember that if we are from the Rebbe's, where the Rebbe's Vagin, you think if you weren't a Baal Nefesh, I would take you into my Vagin, like the Rebbe. We have to believe in ourselves the way the Rebbe looks at us. You know, I'm going too long on this, Nakoda, but this is something that we need to think and rethink. This is the gift the Eibishter gives Doira Shvi, the last door L'Rida L'Mata Ba'aret. The gift the Rebbe gives us, the Eibishter gives us, is the Rebbe. Yeah, we could always mirror. You could always see V cooked a neshama on a yid. How does the Rebbe look at a yid? If we would look at ourselves, and not if we would, we have to look continuously at ourselves the way the Rebbe looks at a yid. And for a guest, you know, the Bachram used to go, if you look in dollars, they go by the Rebbe with the Knei Chazayit. A Moshe as a shtick. Why? State that the Avedis says on the forehead. So the Rebbe's almost, the Rebbe sees on the forehead, the Rebbe's at Mr. the Knei. Maybe it shows that you're embarrassed. So what do you think? What do you think? I want to tell you, you know what the Rebbe's thinking? But I want to tell you from anything I know about a neshama, if I know anything from Tanya and from Likud Torah that we learned together, if there's anything I know is one thing, that who cares what you did yesterday? The Eibishter created you means on them the Welt is not going to be complete. So let's say there's a soldier in Eretz Yisrael, there's a general that's leading a battalion of soldiers into enemy soil, on enemy land. And they're all Elav Pneihem Eneim Tluyos. He learned the maps, and he... Can I... Ataitano or Tashama? Tiaitano.
Always.
Chaim. Chaim Levi, Chaim. Just finish this one. There's this. And he knows, Reuben, he knows the maps by heart. This general, they're all going al daitoi. And then, he forgets one turn, and he tells them go left instead of right, and they stepped on a mine. Platz. This is a fire stuff. It's a platz, Rahman al-Islam. And lives were lost. And I want to share with you that before they make a general, he swears in Munim that he's going to bring them home to their parents. Every soldier is a child, is a sibling, is a parent, is a friend. And he swears he's going to do till his last drop of blood. He'll throw himself on a grenade to bring them all home. And because of his narish mistake, he Pashat forgot. So he thinks to himself, you know what, it was a mistake that I ever swore imunim. It was a mistake that I ever committed to this position. It's a mistake. All his superiors, if they could now talk to him, what are they saying? They're screaming with all their might. If they could scream through the kesher, they scream to Mishuganer. Who cares how you feel? Without you, the war we're not going to win. Maybe you'll sit afterwards. But on there, you're still in this. Without you, we're not going to win the war. Good, you're a grub yak, you made a mistake. That's why the Rebbe looks at a chassid. What do you think the Rebbe doesn't know? The Rebbe doesn't know what Aveda is. The Rebbe didn't describe Tasim Basi Lagani, what the Middle Rebbe felt from Yener's Chataim. It doesn't hurt the Rebbe, for sure. And the Rebbe at Lib Yedid, not a Hidr, it's not a Litvish Hidr in Avos Yisrael. The Rebbe knows, B'Yediyah Brura, the Avodah will not get done without you. Your gold, nevertheless. You'll pay, we'll have to scrub you. Start from ton and come and ask a tikkun. Good. We are moil b'shlichus. We slept on the job. But your value goes down. By the Rebbe is no such a chavamin. When you stand in front of a picture of the Rebbe and you look at yourself the way the Rebbe looks at you, all your mistakes, they dissipate in the light of what you need to get, what the Rebbe depends on each and every one of us. Grass Valley, there's no one else there. There's one person. Zelf. Ken Tundas, you made a mistake. So what? That's the Abba, the Rebbe, and we need to look at ourselves the way the Rebbe looks at us. If you weren't a Baal Nefesh, I would take you my Avod. So viel gerät. Yes, Chaim zusammen. This is unser Tag. If we would do a little bit more, looking at Vizak the Rebbe right after Tafshin Yud. The Rebbe said that younger man's on the free gain in Winkel. And cooking before Birkas HaShachar. Look at a picture of the Rebbe the Shver. Why?
Only done in the afternoon.
That's it. That's a mirror. That's a mirror. It all of a sudden reminds you what the Rebbe believes in you. Vidu ken stoizen. The whole world, it's not pshat the Rebbe Montmer. A person I see in light in the dining room have a picture that Rebbe making as like, darf film nicht. Darf ich dann kommen zu. Just the Rebbe's belief in each and every one of us. You have to stop and look at the Rebbe and stand in Yechidus. Yechidah b'Yachid. And then all your chaloimus, it's all narishkeit. What happened yesterday, we lying at the sea, it's nothing. It turns into a distant memory. The only thing that continues existing is Gatlichkeit. You did your shlichus, Kavana al Yena, and everything else dissipates. It's chaloim yov. If a chassid stellt sich weg in front of a picture of the Rebbe, and he envisions the Rebbe looking at him. In the name of the Rebbe, I didn't see the big suvin. That Yosef HaTzadik came into There's a huge bracha for whoever is able to get Baisa. We're gonna run out. Maybe I should name it. Yosef HaTzadik. Let's say I'm finishing. It's last. L'chaim. Yosef HaTzadik was almost, it says Latzis Malachtai, 2 days in that, Rashi brings, that he was already ready to be Nichshel. And Dmuz Diyuknei Shel Aviv Ra. So, good. So, alle lernen Pshat, it's gewaltig, the person that why not this Morecha? Pashta Pshat, hold the picture of the Rebbe in your pocket. It's the Geben Yer Shemayim, Makli Shel Rameir. There's a Tanaim would look at the stick of Rameir and would get Chachma. Look at a picture of the Rebbe. Machen Ofim. So I heard in the name of the Rebbe, I didn't see it inside, that he saw how Yaakov Avinu looked at him. What's Pshat he saw most Diyuknei Shel Aviv? What's Pshat he saw Yaakov Avinu? He saw how Yaakov Avinu looks at him. You know how Yaakov Avinu looks at Yosef? Shiftei Kol. The Eibishter is building a nation out of you. This is like Revav al Beged Talmud Chacham. This is nothing. This is what's this? Sich zuklappen zu der Malafafte, the Gemara says in Saita. Sich zuklappen zu der like a keller. It's not pshat to be. It became ois nesayin. When a yid looks like Yaakov Avinu looked at him, it's Ois Nisayin. It's nicht an Nisayin. You see, Yaakov gonna believe, you're gonna be Shiftei Kaf. He comes this b'chol. It's not even like, it's nothing. So the Nekuda is von ons by the Rabbi Shiftei Kaf. The Rabbi is bringing down Loiridu Lamata Bar. The third Shvi, the Rabbi says in the mission statement, brings the Shechina Lamata, and he chose us. And we have to believe the Rabbi that we are Shaykh, we are capable to this job. Chaim l'chaim Marcha. There. Chaim Maxim. Chaim l'chaim Sidon. Chaim l'chaim l'chaim l'chaim. Let's do it. Small gods of bracha. Thank you. For my kitchen. More bagels, yeah, please. Whoever didn't wash yet, Kenach Chumatai. L'chaim, 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 l'chaim. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim.
Chaim Levach.
Can you sagen Kabel? Can you sagen?
Shem Shneimim.
By Chassidim is going to say there that whoever brought maskets to the tish, I mean, gas and brachas. They're Shmuel Maber. Sagen l'chaim together that Yosef nach Mendel ben Chamadima. And Shendel Basfrado, alle brachas. Alle means alle. And Pirushim. Koilo zer chai v'kayama. Om. Gesundheit und Freude. L'chaim, 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 l'chaim. L'cholam et starech. Und alle was davon. That big gist. I want also everybody to give a special bracha for huge issues that are going on with the government and the Chayil. Der Atzas Hashem hi Sakum.
Amen. Ken Yakum.
Weiter B'derech Yisrael Saba. On Kana Eitzes.
It's very dangerous.
Some people, when they give you eitzes,
Yeah, better than the.
Chaim, l'chaim, 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 without any hint. From the time of the oil.
Yeah.
Chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim.
We don't want to be doing underground chedarim again, right? Huh? I'm saying we don't want to have to go underground, like in Europe.
I know, it's like we love America. So.
Okay, here's of too good.
Don't care if you're live. This is live. This is what it is live. It goes for the camera. Like, who's watching it anyway?
Chaim, l'chaim.
Why don't come?
L'chaim, l'chaim.
Yeah, because they always getting
Scary hacks to be spontaneous is what is.
Let's be natural.
I want to tell you to Yud Shvat, they're from Tzugain.
Oh, you got more.
Maxim,
I realized I can resell brachas.
right. Chaim, l'chaim, Maxim, what can I get? What can we get?
No, I gotta resell brachas. They're basically unused.
All the brachas.
Chaim, l'chaim, 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 all the brachas.
Only
To be
brachas and
healthy
only
and
brachas.
happy and develop the connection with. I'm giving you, Mamash Davis should give you a connection with Davis. You know, there's a concept in halacha. Those that learn Rambam, those that learn, it's actually cool. You're not allowed to give to the Eibishter Esnan or Mechir Kelev. What's an Esnan or Mechir Kelev? You're not allowed to give a shepsel that was swapped in either for Aveda or for Mechir Kelev. And you swapped it for a hund. Person wanted a poodle. You gave him and someone gave him a shepsel for it. He had a poodle and he switched it. You can't use that shepsel because it takes on where it came from. Meruba Mida Taiva, when you have l'chaim that's brought from Simchas Teira, our bottles of mashke ba'atzem, they're all given for psicha for kol nidre, psicha for kol nidre, it's all for bottles of mashke. When you say l'chaim on something that's psicha kol nidre, it carries heavy
Blessings.
oidus. They fuel azacha Farbengens that end of our cousin. I want to say that those we finished them already. The psicha for kol nidre l'chaim is then gendik. And now we're having offene herzer. The bottles of mashka are from open hearts. Zay zenen nish weniger from psicha for kol nidre. By the Baal Shem Tov, basics 101 Baal Shem is that an open heart is like psicha for kol nidre. I'm not telling you. It sounds das. I want to tell you, it's the Baal Shem Tov prime. It's not even like masking mine.
I never heard it.
No, I didn't either hear it.
Sounds good.
I know, no, I didn't either hear it. If you know the Baal Shem Tov a little bit, they still that by the Baal Shem, Yiddish hearts that's often. There's nothing greater. So the shtag grasa, it's psicha l'kol nidre. I want to give you a beispiel from a simple story that we all grew up on. That the Baal Shem Tov was sitting and in davening barichus trying to take away Gzeda. And then came in kind, horse boy. Nishki Kent Ivra. He couldn't read, and he said if everyone's reading and davening and the Baal Shem Tov is stuck, everyone started crying and pushing stark. They understood there's something going on. That was cool. So he said, "If Kenish the Werter," that's what he knows how to do. And the same story goes with the Kukuriku, with the flutes, the culminate. Gave him a fife, and everyone kicked him out of shul meshugner. They started. Mitam all the Baal Shem Tov was mekatze and davening. He said, that's whip. He was mechal al Shabbos. The Rabbanon. Something. A Yiddish heart, darf mechaper sein. Who am I? I don't know nothing. But a Yiddish heart, open, by the Eibishter, is a crack in Kol Nidre. It whips through all elements. This by us, Maxim, to put a bottle by us, by Chassidische Farbengen when we need fuel. And get all the Shvat veretna. Schos on the seas. Whatever you need. The Eibishter should give you, Maxim,
A given.
not, you know that once was going Shmuel David Reichik was going to fundraise zusammen mit someone say the
Mendel?
the Kazanowski, Shlomo Aaron Kazanowski, and the Rebbe came in. You know that Shmuel David, I think he tied his tie. He knew an American gave him a tie, but he only knew how to make one type of knot. Half the shich, you know. So anyways, the Rebbe gave him a ira. He said, when you give, make sure I asked. And like Daina Sagas, nicht like Daina Sagas.
25th yard side.
Who? Shmuel David?
Die Woche even Yotzes.
So Lamer Zag B'chaim, I want to bench Reb Shmuel Abba and Maxim. Then, what's your mother's name? Maxim.
Mira.
Mira. Maxim ben Mira. That the Eibishter should give you not according to your hasagas. You know what's hasagas? Not according to what you believe is the right thing. The Eibishter should give you according to what he understands is the right thing. Like Zayin hasagas. According to his.
Mola v'godesh.
Oh my God! It should pour over. Achi Yivlos if they say.
Baal Shem Tov Siddur.
L'chaim, 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 l'chaim.
Einmal a Woche. Kreis lachem,
You start.
al bli dai.
With us or you're not with us?
Bye. Sometimes.
Oh, I want to share. Like you know, this is one of the big sound, but it's not. You know that there was one thing, one clip that's a Gedreit in Yatzat a long time ago, like 5 years ago. There was one Gimel Tammuz came out like 3 books. By Steinsaltz, gedruckte Sefer, and by Tolushkin. So there was a bacher that made like a promo. He said, I wanna give you the opportunity to get to know the Lubavitcher Rebbe on a deeper level, like you never knew before. In such a tifkeit. We have 3 books for you that can mamish give you a window into, not only a window, a real connection. And he pulls out a Lakutis Tichis, Igris Kodesh, met a Sefer Mamam look at. Unbelievable. I was quelling. You know, I'm all, Tmim was scheint auf dem Gila Lakus. Like, and it was on camera. It was on camera. That's the Chiddush. Gila Lakus caught on camera.
Kurz und scharf, Katzal Anyan.
It was moidig. I want to tell you, Samol says Arim. So cooking after Rebbe from the Dreisen. The emphasis is very Arim and poor to look at the Rebbe from the Dreisen. Sorry. So, it's very poor. And I'm saying, I know Shluchim, the Shluchim book is an unbelievable kibush and Dabirurim. I know what my Shluch is, I know. Aber it's very oren to look at the Rebbe from the Dreisen. The emphasis is, you learn a Maimer. Huh? From outside. It's very oren, very poor. Very poor to look at the Rebbe like an outsider. You learn a Maimer. You know what the Ach means? Dibra L'Kim Chaim. There was once an interview with some Chayzerim after giving. Someone asked them, how could you memorize 6 hours of the Rebbe's talks? It's called a human tape recorder. How do you memorize 6 hours the Rebbe read on Shabbos? Motzei Shabbos, they together stand, they reconstruct together good. But a Maimer. So one of them said, like, he said, listen, most people, what they talk, what are they saying? What sagen they saying? Imagine you had a recording on Har Sinai, Moshe Rabbeinu giving over the words of the Eibishter. What would you give to hear Divrei Elokim Chaim? The Rebbe's creating history. Instead the Rebbe read Werther, the Rebbe's not giving over. It's not a chiddush. A Maimer is not a chiddush in the Rebbe Rashab's Maimer. You understand? Nistel of them, the Rebbe takes a Shmata, Nistel of them, Allah's came. The Rebbe was not Matriach Yidden. The Rebbe came in and davened with the minyan. Today, Nish Matriach Zan. Tirche de Tzibura. To stand up a whole bunch, the Rebbe is far from it. All the scalings on the stone for a Maimer, you need to know this much about the Lubavitcher Rebbe to know that the Rebbe would never do such a thing. Everyone knows the story with Reb Hillel. Givaldik. Reb Hillel once was arguing with the sons of the Tzemach Tzedek in Pshat and a Maimer. They said Pshat is Azoi, and Reb Hillel said Pshat is Anders. So they started to ask the Tzemach Tzedek, was the gesagt in Maimer. Tzemach Tzedek said Pshat like his sons. Kenzu. The sons said the Pshat, the understanding like the So Reb Hillel didn't back off. Someone asked him, technisch, the Tzemach Tzedek, he said the Maimer. Like you're arguing with the Tzemach Tzedek. So he said, no. When the Tzemach Tzedek said the Maimer, Shchinim Daberes. It's Divrei Elokim Chaim. Now the Tzemach Tzedek Zok Pshat is like, say that. I verstehe. I'm not saying shouldn't put him on it. Okay, we're not a pillow, we're not a Sahal Rebbe. But the Nakuda is, what are we holding? We're in the middle of something.
Chazorah, Maimon, was sagt der Maimon.
Oh, the Rebbe doesn't say things that he heard or he thought. A mime is not a chiddush in Divrei in Pri Etz Chaim. The Rebbe mechadish given. Oh, Yossi. Was that the Rebbe? That pshat. The Rebbe mechadish given. Basi Lagani. The Rebbe had a tifra der hair in the Divrei Lekim Chaim means it's what's being nisgal now. The Rebbe says things that need to be nisgal now. Who am I close to?
I heard something similar to what you were saying. From the year we told the Rebbe, why is on the 70 day, he davened so quickly, relatively. So the Rebbe told him that, especially the tzibur, I'm not going to put it on the bottom. So he had a bit of chutzpah to get it. He said, I see you're Farbengen, so you're not so bothered to. So the Rebbe said, Farbengen, no one's forcing them to be there.
Right.
Davening, it's a fear.
There you go.
Farbengen, go as long as you want.
But I'm saying, what I'm pointing out is the Rebbe, the Skenim sollen sich stellen. Weiße Bär. I'm almost weiß. So stellen, aber mir ist es schwer. Because that, I want to tell you, it's not a joke. Divrei Lekim Chaim means the Rebbe get Divrei what the people need to hear. The people need to hear. So this is all like dumb. I'm saying this is all very dumb. I started off with something else. I'm getting to a different point. That it's Aaron. It's
Poor.
It's poor. It's poor. Huh?
It's shallow, superficial.
It's shallow. Oh, the Rebbe's mentioned. It's shallow. It's superficial. It's shallow, superficial to look at the Rebbe from outside. But I want to tell you one thing. One thing, Kach Yibalti. Yud Shvat by the Farbengen, we are abusive. We look at the Rebbe, it's like a tiny tzmidi. And at some point, shine, you know, this is what's going on. The Rebbe is the Rebbe, and we know already what's the Rebbe stellt, the Chiddush of the Rebbe, the Chiddush of Chassidus, the way the Rebbe looks at the Welt, the way the Rebbe looks at the Neshama, the way... By us, this is Dvarim Pshutim, right? Nicht as I geht mit Yud Shvat zu verbringen. Yud Shvat, you have to come like an outsider. You have to come like Pesach by the Seder. Maschilim Bignus. You have to come, what would be if we wouldn't have? Was wird gewähnt? I don't want to sagen the right thing. On Yud Shvat, you have to come like an outsider. And the hair was what the Rebbe gives us. Because we already take it for granted. The Moshe Rubin, the Anshei Moshe, the Mechaber from Anshei Moshe, it's like talking by the Seder. Say Olmad. You wanna learn something, you wanna the hair, you have to go out. I wanna tell you, Yud Shvat is the Talushkin Yom. I wanna tell you. You have to look at that. You have to imagine was wird gewähnt. You have to see. You have to cook from Geisen because if you're looking inside, it's the same. Shraga v'tira. We know what the Rebbe is, and a chassid is. He's so. It's so such dvarim pshutim. You agree with me, Ryan?
Not sure yet.
I can be with you.
I hear what you're saying.
I'm not signing off an open check. On Yud Shvat, we have to the hair, but we have to look was wird gewähnt on them. I want to tell you, you don't have to work too hard. You just have to look outside of what.
Ilava Uyoime.
Yeah. Rabbi Yosef says, "Ilav it came Shavuos, ilav hayoyme, kama yosef ika b'shuka." That's pshat. If not for Shavuos, if not for Matan Torah, how many Yosef sollen sich gedreht? I want to tell you. I'm just going to say that we have to look at the Rebbe on Yud Shvat. You have to think. On a göttlicher Verstand, without a Getlacha Verstand, without it's Tanya, it's basic Tanya. Without the Moichin of Nefesh Elokis, without the ability to look at this world from a Nizak Levi, from a Hashemliness perspective, what would we see? We have Naches, we have Zusammen, we have Chidush Teda, we have the Eibishter. And you know what? Less man the Polik. Less man the Polik. Yidden Harvin and Torah. And Dvar Havaya Zu Halacha, Havaya Ima Halacha, the Rebbe told the Moshe Sternbuch. Havaya Ima Halacha Kamoisa. The Koyach of Torah. It's not a joke. But I want to add that Bizbuz HaOitzres is for the Anshei Chayil. There's a job that has to get done. And for that, we can't cook enough the job. And that, the generals have to give it over to the foot soldiers. Even Shalom Ber is masking it.
No, what you're saying is right, but the wording you're using is confusing people about the room and the Rebbe and the outside.
I'm going to try to correct it.
Chabad is primus, aber wir nicht gucken von Deutsch.
I'm saying, I want to say that Yud Shvat, clarify. Yud Shvat, we have to be able to recognize that how would we have to recognize what we have. How do you recognize what you have? How do you tell a gvir to recognize that he has gelt? The guy's rolling in dough and gets depressed. Why is he getting depressed? Because licht in viel geld and he's trying to figure out was can noch the geld geben that what could still the money give that I don't have? Maybe Baspamya, maybe at the end of the world there's something that I didn't. The Gvir has to push it, stop and think, Shalom Ber, what would happen if I wouldn't have gelt? You know what would happen? I would appreciate the bagel. I would wake up in the morning and say, you know what, on an empty stomach, a little bit of bread would give me chayas. A little bit of bread, I would be able to learn Torah. Elamai, I don't have the bread. Eibishter give me bread. That's what a Gvir has to think. What would be if I wouldn't have? And it's, think for a second. Deir Shvi, I want to tell you that, I want to try to say it close. Shalomber, you'll tell me if I get it correctly afterwards. I want to tell you if a regular civilian goes outside and he sees somebody breaking into a car. Colorful things happen with colorful people. And you have I saw. And all of a sudden, a person could think to himself, you know what? It's not my car. It's not my cousin's car. You'll create a commotion, and you become the center of attraction. Sure, it's not my car. It's not anybody that I know. It's not. Could be such a thing. Such a thought could come to your mind. You're not Mr. Tzedek V'Yesha. You continue walking. You didn't realize. Could be such a thing. Nachal.
Ich mache es wissen.
You know that if a military personnel, a police, goes by and sees someone breaking into a car, and he macht sich nicht wissendig, he could sit in jail for it. Because this is your business. This is your business. A civilian could say it's not my business. A military personnel could say it's your business. What do you mean? This is
your job.
This is your. I want to tell you, in Yidden is also like this. The Eibishter has many soldiers. What I'm saying now is the word of the Chafetz Chaim, and I'm going to tell you the quote afterwards. The word of the Chafetz Chaim. Yisrael Meir from Nadin.
Koyin.
The Eibishter has many types of soldiers. Many types of... Most Yidden, Mer's the Yidden Shmuel Abba. Meres the Yidden, then they see a Yid that didn't put on tefillin. What happens? What goes through their mind? It's nicht mein Shidduch. It's nicht mein Nachas. It's nicht mein Edom. It's nicht mein Schwieger. It's nicht in dem Bastetis. It's not my Indian. A Lubavitcher that someone else didn't put on film, this is my business, right? So, Baruch Shalom, everybody knows. A Yid doesn't have, now, Chesed is Chesed, but I'm talking about Ruchnistic Chesed. Chesed every Yid, the Satman took the Zeir fine. Full Shleiman and full Aspen. And that lib haben jeder Yid, I feel from it. I say that it's unbelievable what they do in hospitals. Unbelievable. Bikuchelim. A Yid sits, they say in the name of the Rebbe, once they wanted after there was a ganze Geschichtes with Zwischen and Lubavitch with Klepp, and Azay gedenkt sich mehr. The Rebbe said, aber die Yidden is in a such balei chesed. The ladies, Mavil, soup with.
You know why there's no food by the Kaisel?
No.
Something doesn't
Satin, there's no food by the Kaisel, you know why? Satin geht nicht dort. It's not a joke. I want to tell you, it's not a joke. The Rebbe said, but the Yiddiness, the Freuen, it's unbelievable what they do. Klappe Madvar Mamorim. The Gashman Yidden do mitzvahs, I'm not saying. But if he doesn't do mitzvahs, it's nicht mein Gan Eden. The Rebbe made, this is our English. If you walk by and you didn't put a film and you didn't ask that guy on that flight, any Lubavitcher can tell you this. If you ended a flight and you didn't ask anybody, forget it, you didn't put this not one diagram. If you didn't ask anybody, you feel like you can't even give a cheshbon an effort. Like you can't even you give yourself terutzim was too early, too late, and by the time you saw the time change, I don't know, whatever terutzim, a terutzim doesn't get. The Rebbe what we're pointing out is von den Droisen. You have to look in Yud Shvat. The Rebbe Pasha taught us is vibrant choices. The Rebbe gave us a gift, injected. A Lubavitcher sees a Yid, doesn't matter how many tattoos he has, like a lake tefillin, you see an neshama. And you are 1,000,000% sure that if he puts on this tefillin, the neshama is going to flare up, and all this Narishkeit, the Nevelis was said, you guessed in 2 minutes before, the neshama is stronger than that, finished. It's a gift we have from the Rebbe. It's not even pshat we learned it in Basi Lagan. But Geharvet and Chassidus, and we Gedavet with them a parsha till it became Anacha. It's a gift that Rebbe gives every Lubavitcher. The only problem, you know where the problem starts? The Rebbe also wants we should look at ourselves as like our neshama, one mitzvah, and forget about what happened. This with a bissel the Nefesh Abamas looked around the double standard. But shame, no me nicht reden. Wie sagt der Rebbe, but Tevasim Shal Yisrael. We have to also, that's what we spoke about before. We have to look at ourselves like an Nefesh like again. But we have to imagine, Ilav Hayem, I want to tell you, Baruch Shalom, but Geharvet, he would be a Harav Baruch Shalom, since he was quoted also. And wird Geharvet, und durchgetragt, Shas dreimal. No, this was the basics. Elamai, he's busy Leif nach Yidden, they got stuck now, Bach in LIJ, and they have their kids got an infection with the tzon, with the bak tzon, and he needs to make sure that Shabbos, was like Einig Shabbos. This is called military personnel. It's their business. That's what it's called. In Droisen kann man das nicht verstehen. In Droisen, outside, does it make sense to you? A person should dedicate his life. He could be a Greisa Yid. And he is a Greisa Yid. In the Baal Shem Tov's book, In Gan Eden, we know who gets mafte. Shishi, what did he say? In the Baal Shem Tov's book, what the emes is, it can't, and he needs, and the Rebbe, what's moiridik. Welcome to Deir Shvi. The Rebbe mont 3 prakim Rambam. How did the Rebbe tell Bumi Frindland? Bumi Frindland said that he took a Masechta for Yittis Kislev, but he's not sure he could do it. Mom is proper with the Leyuna. So the Rebbe said, okay, Nar Gepat. Ashin Tais was okay. Right? You know the Lubavitcher Rebbe. The Rebbe sees Gedla a Nefshel Kami Mal. So he says, okay, Lij. They say that. The Rebbe's man on the job. Okay, so only get past. Tomorrow Rashi Tais. Show him. So them Dafman Swift. Dafman Swift. Them Dafman Harvard. And the Rebbe, so this we have to deher Deir Shvi. If we were not, Yosef, Bali Nefesh, would you be in my involvement? The Rebbe, plus military personnel, was kochen sich, and there's a brach and a flach of his man. The Eibishter git. The Rebbe says, who on Tzadik Goyzer Kadosh Baruch Hu Mekayim, I've seen unbelievable things. I mean, mamish. Hatzlacha b'zman and learning that for other people, the Rebbe once quoted as Azach that was Nemen Yener 500 Shah when it says b'chanuni no b'zois, and the Alter Rebbe says a toiva b'gashmis kolshkein beruchnius. So if you teach another yid kolshkein, so the Rebbe said it's the main practice. What would take a different person. When it says, the Alter Rebbe says, Elef Pamim Kacha, what would take someone else 500 hours to understand takes you a half an hour. The Chiddush here is that the Rebbe Montes, okay, if you're Shayach, so what do you crap? Like, military personnel means you do what you need to do. I'm Sam Barshon. This is a moikin. You're a dugma from everyone here. We all, I want to tell you, says Daza Klippa and Deir Shvi, that if we are not full-time shluchim, avoid of Deir Shvi. Say that. The shluchim are doing. This is Kfir Bachdusa is Baruch. Everybody in Deir Shvi, Nachum? Chaim.
Chaim, wir sind bereit.
Chaim.
Woher eine Frische sein?
Chaim. Shmuel Abba.
Ja.
Chaim.
Chaim,
L'chaim, First once. Go to that. Let's look at this. This is a Sudisayda. You smell good.
L'chaim Nitzchim, you should live forever.
Today everything is public. If she could already access it, she may as well understand.
The latest Sichas of the Rebbe on Mitzrayim was Shavnit,
Ganz anders.
getting the world ready.
It's a huge Shvat.
The whole Shabbos, Farbengen in Shul, about this year's curveball. That's what we're Farbengen about. And what I mean is that in the Maimer this year, in Mem Gimel, Tafshim Mem Gimel,
Could you define curveball for people that don't know what baseball is?
we're explaining the Maimer and everyone from the
Take the
Maimer,
muscle,
from the
you'll understand what it
Maimer,
is.
understand what a curveball is. So then there's hitting a curveball.
Rabbi Yoel used to say, "Lamed in practice. Faran oil, faran oil." Shah.
So in the Maimer, the Rebbe, it's a Maimer Abasi Lagani. The Rebbe brings all the Rebbeim. The Rebbe brings his father. The Rebbe brings Rebbe Yitzchak, and the Rebbe brings the Beditchever. The Rebbe brings. Seems like the Beditchever also came for Yud Shvat that year. The Rebbe brings many Yanim in the Maimer. So the Rebbe, this year, Parak Yud Gimel of Masilagani is really about explaining the words that Orin Soif is Lamata Mata Adin Tachlis. That Orin Soif is found, Hashem's infinite light, Orin Soif is found in the lowest of the low.
אנחנו פה ביחד. לא עובד.
So, the Rebbe says that it's interesting that if we look in Zohar and Eitz Chaim and the deepest svarim that we have of Kabbalah, where you would think you would find the most cryptic and secrets of the universe, there's chapters upon chapters and prakim upon prakim about Klippa. 2 prakim in Eitz Chaim and in Zohar, and it's literally you're swimming parak after parak and this Klippa and that Klippa and this type of negativity and this midah ra, and that's this bad midah and that bad midah and this evil way of thinking and that Russia, and And there's someone who there's a Russia that knows there's an Eibishter and he denies him, and there's a Russia that B'chlal doesn't even know there's an Eibishter, and you're going on and on and on and on, and it's not just like a small, touch of describing things. It's a lengthy, deep, rich discussion about Klippa from every angle. Getting a picture from this side, Maxim, a picture from this side, a picture from that side, a picture from the top, a picture from the bottom. So you're getting every angle. Mamish. So the Rebbe asks in the Maimer, why are we discussing Klippa so much? Is that such a yichus? Why is he discussed so much? The Rebbe starts off and says, perhaps you can say that the truth is that the Eibishter wants Klippa. Part of our life and part of the backdrop of life is that we're in a world with Klippa. So we have a technical problem. If no one talks about Klippa, then Klippa will never exist. Istako Beiraiso Bara Alma. If you don't talk about Klippa in the Torah, Klippa has no existence. It actually won't appear on the map. So in order for Klippa to actually appear, it has to be in the Torah, and you didn't have to learn about it, and then Klippa actually happens. Fine. So, in order for there literally to be a creation of Klippa, we need to have a long, intricate explanation of Klippa and this side of Klippa and that side of Klippa. And then the Rebbe says that the Baal Shem Tov says that Sur Meira V'asei Toiv, that it's not just about going away from Ra, but it's actually making the Ra into Toiv. So therefore, you would think, this is, the Rebbe doesn't, at the end, the Rebbe doesn't hold like this. In the beginning, the Rebbe says, perhaps you can say that since a Yid's life is about changing over the negative into positive, and we have to make a dira b'tachtoinim. And we have to make a dira b'tachtoinim in the lowest level. Well, what's the lowest level? The lowest possibility is to take a klippa, to take an aveira, and to change it and do tshuva and make it into a mitzvah. So therefore, we're dealing with all this negativity and we're actually bringing it up to kedusha. And this is where the Maimer, and which is the major bulk of the Maimer until the last two lines, which the Rebbe says is Bo'emet Yoser, which is a completely deeper avodah, and each step of the Maimer is actually a step in life, how you have to approach all the Gashmias and the Klippa that we deal with, that we interact with. And the Rebbe says, but don't we say in davening every day, Al Tivieni Lidei Nesoyin? How could we say that we talk about Klippa in order to change Klippa, but we ask every day, don't bring me to any tests. Don't have me with any connection. We start our day and we say, Eibishter, give me a day that I don't have an Asayu. Give me a day that I don't have to deal with the lowest of the low. Give me a day that I don't have these challenges. So how could we say that there's all these inyanim in Kabbalah and Chassidus talking about Klippa because that's where we're supposed to be. That's what he has to do, and he has to change over the Klippa. But this is not it. This is not what we're about. A Yid distances himself from Klippa. And actually, the Rebbe explains the story this week in last week's Parsha in Boyal Para. That Moshe Rabbeinu was scared. He was too scared to go into Parai. And Hashem said, Boyal Parai, come with me, I'm going with you. The Rebbe explains in the Maimer what it means is that the Eibishter was telling Moshe Rabbeinu, you're right. You don't have to go to Paray. I will actually deal with the klippa of Paray. You just go in, but you don't even. It's not like in other places in the Chassidus. It says, "I'll go with you, and therefore you can overcome it." No, the Rebbe says in this Maimer that the Eibusher says, "You come with me, and I'm gonna deal with the klippa. You don't a yid should never have any interaction with the Gashmistika world. A yid shouldn't have interaction with the world of klippa because he's afraid that something is going to klapsich, something is going to attach itself of the world of the klippa to him. And therefore he says, the Eibusher, ich schreck sich, dochel minei, ich schreck sich zu gehen zu Paray. I'm afraid. You want me to go into Paray. I'm afraid what's going to happen. I'm going to go to Paray. So Eibusher says, you're right. You don't have to go to Paray. Come, I'm going to Paray, and you should come with me, but I'm the one that's really going in. That's what the Rebbe teaches in this year's Basi Lagani. You don't have to go into Paray. So now we're back to the Shaila, yeah? Everyone with the mind? So then comes back the Shaila. So why are we talking in Kabbalah, prakim upon prakim about klippa? A yid should not go into klippa. And the Eibusher says, I'm masking to you, Moshe Rabbeinu, that you're not going in, I'm going in. So why do we talk about klippa? So, Pizah, and this is the curveball, that even though usually in Basi Lagani we talk about making a dir b'tachtoinim, the Rebbe says in this year's Maimer, and this is this year's message, that how can we expect from every person to go into tachtoinim? In Yanim of Lamata Mata, it says, Ki akavana bazehi la'abir ha'idei his askus belimud Yanim elu k'vishem b'teira. We never meant that you should actually go and deal with these low in Yanim. That the Eibusher will do, they'll get done. What a yid, his avoida is that just like there's a whole Masechtas Avodah Zarah, and you learn about all these practices of these people serving this idol and that idol, and this philosophy and that philosophy, and there's all these different shittas of Avodah Zarah and how you serve it and how you bow, and this Avodah Zarah you have to throw a rock, and this Avodah Zarah you have to this, and this, you're going into all these Avodah Zarahs. And you say, it's not like a yid ever saw this Avodah Zarah, it's not that he doesn't know about this Avodah Zarah. He learns about it in the Torah, and when a yid learns Masechtas Avodah Zarah, he learns about this concept, this idea of Tachtoinim. So then, what happens is that this part of the world gets refined. Like it says, and this is the Pshat, Yaakov ve'Esav Amurim b'Parsha. Yaakov ve'Esav, as they're said in the Parsha. And where do we find this by Mitzrayim? That it says that the Alter Rebbe brings that just like there was Chaymer of Levanim, today we don't have to have a physical brick, we have a Kal v'Chaymer. We don't have to have Levanim, we have Libun Hilchaseh. Shomer, when's the Kovetz coming out? We spoke about it, we should have the Kovetz for Chafei Shvat. So for Chafei Shvat, we should have the Kovetz out. Yeah? Whoever has Haaretz, making kovetz, shul kovetz, or kihila kovetz, and send your haaretz to Shalom. Yeah. Haaretz, populim. He already has a whole bunch.
No. Impressionante, wie weiter.
Some other people live too.
For sure. And I told him,
Are you ready to
we're getting there. L'chaim. Ever we're holding with, or should I?
Continue.
Yeah? We're holding with the mimer? So then, the Rebbe says that now we can understand why, this is the answer, and really, the emes, the mimer, and there's a ba'imek yoser in the last two lines of the mimer. But before the ba'imek yoser,
Is it almost
really
done?
we have to really bring till we get to the ba'imek yoser.
How much further do you have?
We're almost done.
What's
Two
left?
pages.
2 more pages?
So the Rebbe says that this is actually why we talk about all these inyanim, because we refine the klippa, and we deal with these inyanim by learning about these inyanim. And then the Rebbe says, unbelievable thing. And it's unbelievable that in the Maimer the Rebbe spoke about these oisias, these things, because usually in a Maimer we know that when the Rebbe says a Maimer, it's like
Not like shkilim in the bands.
it's the greatest yichud that there could be. A yichud with the Eibishter and a yichud with the Chassidim. It's a very great yichud. It's a yichud pnimi. It's a very, very deep connection. And in the Maimer this year, the Rebbe brings a Gemara, and the Rebbe says that the Gemara in Taina says that if a Amr of Yitzchak, that if a person says the word Rachav, person says the word Rachav, who's a very beautiful woman, he immediately comes to do an Aveira. Immediately it causes them, the person, because she was such a beautiful woman, it causes the person, immediately it causes an Aveira. The Rebbe in the Maimer says, which Aveira? The Rebbe says, the known Aveira, Rachmana Litzlan, which causes Arichas Agalis, which causes the Galis to lengthen itself. And then Rab Nachman said to him, but I said Rachav, I tried it out, and nothing happened. You know, when you say don't say it, then what does everyone do? If you say it? Rab Nachman says, but I tried it, and nothing happened.
Rachav is what?
Yericho?
The
name of a woman.
That was
So it was from Yericha, yeah. So he says, no, what I meant was, if you lived in that time, and you had seen her, and you knew her, and you had say the words Rachav, Rachav, that it would take a person to such a place where it would automatically, there would be an Avir. So, what is this Gemara telling us? That everything that we're dealing with the world is exactly the same way. We learn about it and we have no idea what it is. Eini Yedea Makira. A Yid is in a state where he doesn't know it and he doesn't recognize what it is. And therefore, we could learn about these inyanim, we could learn all the inyanim of the Zohar and the Yitzchayim and Misachas of the Zohar and Rachav Rachav, and we're learning about it in the Torah. And since it's Eini Yedea Makira, since it's not really something that's coming from the inside, from us, from a recognition of it, and therefore don't know. And then the last paragraph of the Maimer is the second curveball. But the first curveball of the Maimer is, you could say, a not traditional avodah that the Rebbe is asking from us. Mm-hmm. The Rebbe is telling us in this year how sensitive we have to be, how careful we have to be, how our avodah has to be focused on learning Torah. And from this Yud Shvat, a Yid has to come out with a clear directive and a clarity that my avodah is to bring Mashiach. And my avodah is to bring a lichtigkeit to the Galus. And the way I interact with Galus before the Ba'imek Yoser. Ba'imek Yoser is a whole different Farbengen. It could be it's a Yud Aleph Shvat, a Yud Shvat, a Yud Aleph Shvat, before the Ba'imek Yoser. But the whole bulk of the Maimer is that I don't know Elam Hazeh, I don't recognize it, I could say the words, I could, I'm talking to Yidam Sayim, whatever, I could say the words, I could say this. But really, my avoida is limud haTorah. My avoida is learning about Torah more, and everything I'm going on, and everything going on in the world, I'm learning about it and knowing it from limud haTorah. And this is the way how we can demand from every Yid, like I said. And this is why we're talking about these inyanim. Not that a Yid should have to deal with these inyanim. Not that a Yid should have to go in the world. Not that a Yid should have to actually come in touch with the Lamata Mata. Because out of the Ainli de Nisayan. Don't bring me to a Nisayan. So a Yid, he knows his inyanim just from Limud HaTorah itself. L'meila, from this year's Yud Shvat, there has to be, and we could come out, that Boyal Paroi is that the Eibishter is going to Paroi, and we're wishing the Eibishter Bracha V'Atzlacha that he's going to deal with the Klippa, he's going to take care of Klippa, don't worry, someone's going to do it, someone's going to do the Avodah, someone's going to break the Klippa of the world, and my avodah is to learn about it. And I don't have to, and in order to learn about it, I'm going to know about it from the Torah. I don't have to learn about it, I don't have to look at it, I don't have to recognize it. Yeah.
That is true.
That is true. That is true. And this is true. 100%. It's true. So L'chol Reish, we're holding Yud Shvat, and the Rebbe says that every year there's a higher Boyal Parah, that the Rebbe goes into Parah, the Eibishter goes into Parah, according to the Maimer. So therefore, the first Inyan, and really, the Rebbe wants us to know that if in the Ba'imek Yoser, the Rebbe is telling us that we do have to go in, we have to know that it's Ba'imek Yoser. But the first Avodah, and the most important Avodah we have to know for us, for ourselves, for our families, for our children, is how much of a Zehirus, that although we kotzich and we talk about, and the Torah talks about, Dira b'tachtoinim does not mean that I am part of the tachtoinim. Dira b'tachtoinim doesn't mean that I have to know about the tachtoinim in order to make a Dira b'tachtoinim, so I have to know all the things going on in the lowest, lamata mata adin tachlis, or in seif lamata adin tachlis. Dira b'tachtoinim means that I learn about all these aspects, and I learn about these inyanim as they are in Torah. And through that, the Eibishter causes that all of the tachtonim themselves, as they are in the physical world, they become a dir b'tachtonim. They happen. And this is the first avodah the Rebbe is asking from us, and the Rebbe is talking to us this Yud Shvat. How there has to be a hisafa, has to be an addition, a real addition that we really say, and this Yud Shvat we had a hisafa in Limud HaTorah. Whether it's in Nigla, whether it's in Chassidus, if we have a Masechta, Mendel was talking about learning a Masechta with the Mefarshim, the Iyun, that every Yid, every one of us, a Balabas, has to have a Masechta that I'm learning, an Inyan that I'm into. Whether it's with Tosfos, B'diavad, just with Tosfos, B'diavad, Gefes, Gemara, Rashi, Tosfos, but should be an Inyan that we're stimulated, that our deepest, our head is actually active, that we're thinking deeply into an Inyan and Gemara. That at that time we're not present to anything else going on. Obviously, it's not a time of taking calls or this or anything else. It's that it puts us in a space where we're completely in Limud HaTorah. And that time, like the Rebbe one time said, that when a Yid learns Torah, it has to be like Shabbos. But just like on Shabbos, the phone rings, there's no, whatever, it's Shabbos. There's nothing else going on. When a Yid is learning, he has to be in a space of Shabbos. And it's not just mitzvah the learning, but it's also the depth of the learning. That a Yid tartifsich, he goes deep into learning. Mashkacha pratis, I went lately to visit someone, And I went to an office, and there was a yid who learned in Koil. He learns in the Koil. And he wanted to help yeshiva, and he gave to Tim Chutzvim, he gave a check for Tim Chutzvim, Baruch Hashem. And he said, "No, which Masechta are you learning?" So I told him which Masechta I'm learning, because I give shiurim to Baal Batim during the week. But he started asking me, in this Masechta, which Inyanim, this, that. And he's also, I'm meeting him in his office. He's in the middle of a warehouse. But he's talking about the Gemara Rashi Teisus, a Ritva Shabbos Aryeh. And I realized that the Eibishter helped that I met this Yid, because there has to be a part of my day, has to be a part of my week, that it's not just that I open up a Gemara, it's not just that I'm teaching Gemara, I'm learning Gemara, but you have to go deep into learning Torah, deep into learning Torah, deep into learning Chassidus, Inyan in Chassidus, Inyan in Gemara. And it's not so that I'll know the halacha. It's pashut that, like the Rebbe is saying in this mimer, because this is a yid's avoda. The way we're mevar the world, the way we make a dir b'tachtoinim is through limud Torah. And this is the message of your Shvat this year that the Rebbe is telling us, and which is a huge curveball to the general avoda which is expected of us as chassidim. And actually, at the end of the Maimer, the Rebbe says it's not a stira, but we have to have these both in Yanim. That on the one hand, we feel that we shouldn't deal with the world, and Rachmana Litzlan to go there. And then Ba'emek Yisr, there is a whole new Avodah, which we could get into. But before the Ba'emek Yisr, which is literally the last two lines of the Maimer, first of all, making sure everyone learned the whole Maimer, because if you only made it to Sifhei, B'chlal, you have there's no reason why you should go anywhere in the Olam. But if you learn the whole Maimer, so then we could talk about going into Olam Hazeh. But if you didn't learn the Maimer for sure this whole year till next year Shvat, you're not going into Olam Hazeh. Because it's how could you? The whole reason why we even know about Olam Hazeh is because the Torah is talking about, but it has no shaykhs to us. Eini Yedei Makira, I don't even know it, I don't recognize it. I have to say the words because I know about it because that's the avodah. So
one thing we need to learn from Nigla. The darfst learning from Nigla is that there is such a thing. You learn a Gemara, you learn two Rishonim, and they pass it. They look at Gemara at the pastor reading of the Gemara is different, and Mefarshim will tell you could usually pick it up by the Dibra Maschil, that he has a different girsa. Hachi Garsinan, you see the Bach on the side. Hachi Garsinan. Moiridik thing. I'm just describing what Rabbi Yossi is saying over here. A Yid has to be able to say, in my girsa is nishta. How does he learn Pshat Azay? How does he learn Pshat Farkar? He had a different girsa. In his girsa, this whole thing didn't exist. A Yid has to be able to say, in my Gemara, it's a nishta. This whole girsa, I have a different girsa. The whole girsa doesn't exist. In Hebrew, they say it. Ani lo gores otcha. Gores Pshat. What's Pshat? It's not Pshat ani lo mitchashev. מתחשב אתה בן אדם. אתה לא נמצא בגרסה שלי בכלל. I'm sorry, I mean, I would love to... You don't even exist in my... I'm saying that Olam Hazeh in a chassid, vi kleptus b'chlal. It's not pshat. B'yodo makira, but because I don't know her personally, vi kleptus b'chlal, it's not even an old book, you know? See, Gatzel Chazes. It's a good yid that they try to put him b'fnei Nisayim, but they're eingestuckt b'safroi. And he threw up all over. From the whole Havamin, from the Aveda, he threw up from the Yichud. Like the Girsa b'falta sarayin. Yodo Makiro, he doesn't know her from it. It's a Maimer. It's a Maimer. It exists in the Maimer. Was passt nicht in the Maimer, doesn't even fall in. A Yid liegt in Was learned. Yid looked at was learned. Beyond that, commentary. Ze guckt nicht. That's up to jeder Makira. Jeder Makira. Wie kommt zu Chassid? He knows that. Comes from, he has to look from was steht. Okay, I'm saying.
Chaim.
L'chaim.
We had a shaila in Shul what we're doing Sundays.
No.
So now we have an answer. That we should have a shir even in Nikla.
This is a pitch. Whoever doesn't join the Cuddle Biker,
6:30.
6:30. And no, first of all, 6:30 every day. There's a Cuddle Biker on
It
Shemaiah.
starts at 6:30.
And whoever doesn't join, Mishachata Yashuv. I'm going to Shemairich sein. But Afal Pikein, Sundays there's going to be a shirliyah. I want to tell you a chassid. There's a maimer the Alter Rebbe look at the Torah. The Alter Rebbe says the following. He says, "L'chu lachmu belachmi." The Eibishter says, "Let's switch bread. You take my bread, which is Torah, and I'll take your bread." Sagt the Alter Rebbe, a person that his head is occupied with Torah, and they're what's he gonna do with this nuisance, this business? What's the time with them? Okay, I'll do this, that. Let's get over with this, so I can get back to what I was busy with. The Eibishter says, "I'll take care of your bread. You made my bread your bread. I'll take care of your bread." Zakt Alter Rebbe, phenomenal word. He says that's why we find that Gvirim don't have seichel. Tipshim are Gvirim. Why is that? He says, not because they're so klug, they're making geld. But Al Kapanim, they're not using their seichel for Olam Hazeh because they don't have seichel. B'meila is already good. It's showing good. We have to know that whatever RAM you have, know what's a RAM? I don't know the Rosh Hashanah. Shmuel, what's the Rosh Hashanah?
Random access memory.
Random access memory. Whatever you have, this definitely not going to be Shmelke. Gewaldig. Whatever memory you have available, the etzem will help me in Rambam. Choyvul mazik, the arbeit in the Nimonmenes. That's what you're busy with. In your extra time, okay, Shane, what are we going to do? The business dafra. I want to tell you, those are the most successful business meetings. Those are the most successful meetings, period. When you bechlal are eingelegt in Torah, and derech agav, that's called biyodu makira. You're looking at the world from spakulin. Like from glasses. You're looking. There's a beautiful contrast. The Friedrich Rebbe gave the Rebbe. Yeah, you close the door. Square. There's a contrast the Friedrich Rebbe gave the Rebbe to learn in Sheva Brachas. Sheva Brachas learned in Dachnish. So, gave him a contrast called Sipur Melech from Yaakov Kaidona, which Rebbe Yaakov Kaidona has a moiridik beer on time, which they printed recently. Moiridik. The middle Rebbe, but has color like whiskey type. So Rabbi Yaakov Kaidona, he's described. Derech Agav, he's a story that Tzemach Tzedek putting on his glasses. He's medayik in the story. He's Tzemach Tzedek put on his glasses, and he explains what's the pshat that Tzemach Tzedek puts on glasses. He puts on glasses to be able to, from a ruchnis to Gevel to zero into Gashmi. It's really his own beer. I remember as a chasna, I was reading. I was thinking, he had not the magnifying. He had the might have the glasses that you could that it's mekarev, no. And it could binocular type of glasses.
Monocle.
Yeah, binocular glasses. The nekuda is we have to look at the world. We have to look at the Welt from a place of Torah. What's going on over there? What do I do about it? Good. Let me get back to business. Where's business happening? Who is business? I want to tell you. Business is happening. Go. By Koilo Boiker. That's where business is. Unbelievable shmulik with Michal.
By the way, everyone's business that comes to Kodesh is doing a lot better. Everyone says, I never knew I had so many hours in the day. I'm waking up at 6:30. I was like, wow, at 9 o'clock, I'm finally in the office.
It's more than that. They don't have.
There's so much more work.
They don't have mind space for the parnasa. Vert is showing besser. If you don't have brain space for your parnasa, The mishtach weniger, when you mix in, is richtig. And the person, Chaim l'chaim l'chaim l'chaim, b'yodo makira, Yasser b'yodo makira. You know it from Torah. From Torah is a different ballgame. You know the whole Olam Haza. The Achman, Amu Shtetis. He says, B'chi b'chti, the best is Tainis Davdalit. B'chi b'chti chantu chantaya v'softus of Benaya. They did this, they buried and they did the whole Tara, they did what? Mikra Nidoirish. No, in the Pasuk state, different Mikra Nidoirish. As is it, the whole Olam Haza, that person. I heard that this guy made geld. I'm sorry, and I say the chassidus, I didn't see it. I'm sorry. I'm saying, okay, fine, it's up. We have to know Welt from Torah. Mikra Nidoirish. Guy's telling you a boat from here. I'm telling you the shluchim. The Rebbe's mentioned. Davon liegen was the Rebbe liegt. Yeshluchish ladam kamoisai, and each every one of us, the Shvi is the Rebbe's a mensch. Is doing the avodah. Moshe Rabbeinu, when it says, okay, that's the difference I got. When it says, Moshe Rabbeinu zacha v'heard is Ashchinu lamata. Moshe Rabbeinu zacha. Moshe Rabbeinu was moikim the Mishkan, but who wove it? The ladies wove it. Chachman Tavusa is him Esa, is him on the goat, on the sheep. The people did it. It's Moshe. It's Moshe. And if we are Moshe's mention, Anshei Moshe, liegen was the Rebbe lik. In was lik the Rebbe. What's the sikha on the parsha? In was kocht sich the Rebbe. I want to tell you a sikha of the Rebbe is not pshat. The Rebbe was I say the Rebbe right. The Rebbe was looking. The Rebbe was being mechadish, a chiddush on the parsha. The Rebbe kocht sich. He sees in the parsha an Inyan. How could we stay adish? How could? Apathetic.
Indifferent.
Indifferent. The Rebbe kocht sich. B'shalach pares ha'om. Chveis Misraim nosim lekrosoi. What pshat in Rashi? It's not pshat. There was a shaila. There was an answer. The whole Yiddishkeit, Oymed al Tila. Was tut da? The Dvar Avaya. And if we have to, on a Sikha, I want to tell you, I'm saying as Mekanis is in Shvat, Mekanis Zagen Namas, Yud Shvat, the Kavadom. Right, Binyamin? The Kavadom. Where's the red line? Hashem is on the Kachan, one thing that the that said the whole. That it says Yisro came to Yisro Giat Shema Levi Taitanu. Levi Marbitz et Torah. Chaim. Chaim.
Still thinking. Alright.
Amen. Siddim giving brachas. Yeah. Chaim. Should have everything. And the leftovers. And that's it. That's the gap in the leftovers. Chaim, and Michal. Chaim, Moshe. Chaim, yes. Mendel, Chaim, Benjamin. Chaim, Maxim. Chaim, Levi. Chaim, Yasser, Chaim, Shmuel. Chaim, Roin. Chaim.
Yisro.
Yisro. Very negea. No, I wanna say this. I wanna say this for the Divas that are with us also. What does it mean you learn a sikh of the Rebbe? Moshe Rabbeinu, Yisroi, in Parshas Yisroi, it's coming up very soon, with Mashiach and Zazam. Yisroi had a taina. Haitachin, they're working his Eidim so hard. He says, Novol Tibol. You're going to dissipate. Hello, Techiyaka. Mia Boiker Ader. What happened with all these halachas? what happened with the Boiker ad the Erev? Was Moshe Rabbeinu was busy paskening all these dinei shchenim. His camel sat down on his tent, and Yena started chewing on his. Where is it? We could have had books and Sfarim al Gabe Sfarim. Chidushe Ramar, Rabbi Moshe Rabbeinu. Who is this? Who is this? And the answer is, some things were left from Moshe Rabbeinu for your generation. What was relevant to his generation, it's a little relevanti. En lecha gamal. Yeah. Some things were left for our Moshe Rabbeinu. What that tells you is that the Eibishter is telling what you need to know, the Eibishter has for you. What we need to know, practice to walk out tomorrow, and I'm not saying just tomorrow, on the Parsha, isn't Lakutas Sichos. The Rebbe kocht sich. It's not pshat the Rebbe has a chiddush. I'll get to Lakutas Sichos when I finish. You know, I'm like, look around. Look at that. Tzol Tzalam. It's not a po. Kir Shalem. Ad she'anachnu nagia la Lakutas Sichos. I'll get to at the end of the whole. Why isn't that a sicha on the Parsha? I need a sicha. It's not pshat the sicha on the Parsha. Moshe Rabbeinu kocht sich in an inyan. This is our inyan. This is what we need to hear. I'm pshat Yossi Chazid Mem Gimel. Try Mem Gimel. And if he would have chazed a different year, well, they'd get it. And it's also Hashgacha Pratis everybody what they learn. What you need to hear, it's not, what I'm saying is not a hergish. Well, I'm talking to the Gemara Megillah. It says, Masayim Tzoifim Amdu Lam Yisrael. Moiridik. Agav, it's a Moiridik Avart. The Gemara Megillah says, Masayim Tzoifim. It says, Masayim Tzoifim, which is the place where Rama, where Shmuel and Avi comes from, Zakh Gemara, Masayim Tzoifim Amdu Lam Yisrael. There are 200 Nevi'im. What happened to all the Nevuos? Where are they? We would have had Chavdalat Svarim. We would 200 Nevi'im. From Shmuel Gad and Nasan came out the whole Shmuel Aleph Beis and Malachim Aleph and Beis. 200? Where are all the Nevuos? Zak the Gemara, what's Nitzur Chaladoiris was said. Whatever was Lashaita wasn't Nechlon, the Chavdalat simply. Yeah? What's the Pshat? Pshat is that the nevuah that you need to hear is said to you. The nevuah that you need to say, but you have to listen to it like a nevuah. Understand? You know what's nevuah? Dr. Gemara and Megillah. Don't worry about it. What's nevuah? Var Hashem al avodav hanavim. And I want to tell you, it's even beyond. Rebbe Mer b'mayim yesh hashmot es b'tei shalom. It's not going to go. The Gemara says, "Doira asaras tabas." It's the same Gemara over there in Megillah. That's the same place. That when Haman took off tabas, Doila hasaras tabas from all the Nevi'im Shamdu Lam Yisrael. When Achashverosh took off his ring to give to Haman, to decree whatever he wants of Bnei Yisrael, Yidden got the Musar of their life. More than all the Nevi'im, they got the whole memo. When the Rebbe tells us a certain inyan, it's not a psosicha, it's not a maimer. We have to, this is the Nasi of our day. This is, you understand? The Rebbe tells us a word. Didn't tell me I got a chilul from that. The Rebbe make a shul. Just Kodesh Azayin was like, be Baki. What's the Rebbe there gesagt? Take it out like a chilul of the Rebbe. You remember the Boisi Yosef? You know, there's a tier of the Tzemach Tzed, the tier of Sefer Yechidus that's brought there, of Isaac Hamler. The whole story with going to the Rebbe, Gershon Ber Pahar, Muirig. Everybody has to read it. You must read it. It's a must read. So he describes that his father was going into Yechidus by the Tzemach Tzedek. The Tzemach Tzedek was talking, What was the child doing? What the child was seeing his father? The father was saying the words of the Tzemach Tzedek. Tzemach Tzedek was talking to him in Yechidus, and he was saying after his father. His father was saying after the Tzemach Tzedek. Just to remember every oyster that Tzemach Tzedek says. A tshuva of the Rebbe, when you get the tshuva, you write to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe schickt the Rebbe with gefillen aveg. You decide to take it ad asaf. Mosayim tzayfim amdul am Yisrael. Dil asas tabas. The Rebbe's avort. Shchinum beberes. You open a maimer. The Rebbe. Why is it called da'ach? Divrei Elokim Chaim, it's being said now. Honestly, I haven't seen this B'Ksuvin, but I believe the reason it's called a Maimer is because it's like one of the Asar Mamoris. The Eibishter Bashaf and the Welt and Asar Mamoris, what Rabbi Sein and Seiner are saying is what they're told to say, like the Ma'aseh of Rabbi Hillel. And they're bringing they're being Megal and Yonim. That's what that Chayzer said. How do you remember 6 hours? Or the Rebbe, the Chazering afterwards. So the Rebbe's creating history. The Rebbe's saying things that we have to listen. Kin sinasa misinai. Yud Shvat today. Yud Aleph Shvat. We're giving a Rebbe. The Eibishter chose for Deir Shvi. Orida Lamata Ba'aretz. A Rebbe. Every word of Moshe Rabbeinu, if it wasn't relevant for our Deir, we wouldn't hear it. Right? Like Moshe Rabbeinu, what happened with all this Hilchos Gemalim? But what the Rebbe does tell us is, you open a letter from the Rebbe, you see a letter from the Rebbe, macht lichtig. And I'm telling you, Yud Shvat from Kuchen v'Adroisen v'Keh. Mamish, the Tzemach Tzedek, everyone knows it. The Tzemach Tzedek, the Alter Rebbe, once asked the Tzemach Tzedek, Avu Zayda. Tzemach Tzedek pointed to his nose. He said, no, this is Zayda's panim. Avu Zayda. So he pointed at it. Zayda's hand. It's the Zayda's hand. It's not his. Tzemach Tzedek was a kluge yingel. He left the room and he came back and he said, Das is Zayda. Whole Metzias. I want to tell you, Yud, this is my own thoughts, the statement's nowhere. Yud Aleph Shvat, we have to walk out of the room and come back in and say, Das is Zayda. We have to realize. I want to tell you what we take for granted. Come on, it's the Israeli line. Ma shata lomed ani kvar shachachti. Masha, we have to relearn what we have. We should have it for so long, we forget we even own it. We forget we own it. You forget Vasamein Avart Chassidus. Where do you learn? When you take a step back, all of a sudden you see a person that came launched, he was looking at a mitzvah like a checklist. That they're going to hold him accountable after 120. And mitamol tzafs of a chibur. Mitamol is getlichkeit. It's a teva the Eibishter gets uns a teva to give us part of Ein Seif. It makes a part larida lamata ba'aretz. What says gashmis? We're not running through a corridor to get to the end. Oilam as a daimel aproizdor. K'dei shetikanos l'traklim. We're running through it to chas v'shal not get. The Eibishter doesn't plant in. Klum adam zareya kurk. You shouldn't take out 2 korn. The person doesn't plan to get more. The Eibishter put us in the mazah to survive. The Eibishter put us here to machen v'gashim nisruchnis. This is all I want to tell you. This is all too simple for us. We're going to pay for this. The fact that we take it for granted. Guy Pashut hot. You have to take a step back in Aleph Shvat and say, das is Zayda. You have to be able to look and say, I want to tell you it's Mechudesh, a parts of a Yid, a board. Hanachas Olam Haza. that the Welt sagt, I want to tell you, it's not everywhere. It's like, Lubavitcher gets up in a plane and puts on tefillin, I should tell you, it's nicht as I push it. There are Yidden that are Moshe Nefesh to put on tefillin. We have to recognize that for us it's not Mesiris Nefesh because we're not goyrus, we have a different perspective on Belt. I want to be mechadish to you for America. And I want to tell you, Roiv, Minyan, or Binyan of Bnei Yisrael get schar for putting on tefillin on the plane shaloi be'erech to us. I want to tell you, was Yidden gain durch to put on tefillin. I'm putting on boxes. They don't know what I'm doing, and a Lubavitcher comes with a pashat hanacha, inborn. Right? They wish they knew what tefillin is. They wish they pashat. This neshama, if he knew what tefillin, he would be on fire. I want to tell you, Avu Zayda, you have to step back. Where did you come from? Tzeil Mad. I want to tell you, you have to do a spin. Somebody told me before Rosh Hashanah, he goes to a psych ward. It makes him a real shvira.
Not like this jail, this shultz in jail.
Looks in jail. Same schayda. Not same, but cousins. It's not the same schayda, it's cousins. Not push it. Not push it. I want to tell you, before you Shvat, you have to take a spin. You have to go Zen was Tutzach and Welt, in the Yiddish Welt. And I'm telling you, I'm not laughing. It's a chiddush. But there's one huge chiddush. In Welt, it's a Mesiris Nefesh to put on tefillin on a plane. Everybody's looking. They think you're nuts.
They're scared that you're an Arab.
Yeah, you're connected to some wire. And I want to tell you, Lubavitcher says they're all nuts. They wish they knew. They wish they knew. Lubavitcher versteht nicht da. What do you mean the whole Welt is beschaffen geworden? This whole, I just heard of Meiser Rav, I played for the kids. The Baal Shem Tov sent Reb Chaim HaKohen Rappaport to go to Kval to make a stream of water that for 4,000 years was waiting a Yid should make a bracha and came in with a time in front of the Eibishter. I talk no made bracha. So the Eibishter, so Baal Shem Tov did a favor to the Eibishter Kivyachol and sent him to make a bracha. And the Rebbe says, what's the idea? When a Yid comes to a place, he should look. How does he help the matzah bell? That's his training that we get. That you come to a place, what do you mean? He's waiting as if on film. What am I? Nah, I'm not going to put on film. I want to tell you, this is not pashut. This is nicht pashut. It's pashut. We should clap Hashamnu that it's so pashut that we're already looking for other eitzes. It's so pashut that I just started thinking, what could we give his oidurus? Oh, I'm a krich. Tzeilman. Comes a day, Yud Shvat is the red line. What happened? Anyways, l'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. L'chaim, 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 Levi. Ay, 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 bam, 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 bam,
Hey.
Aha, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah.
Ready for finish the mimer.
You need it?
So, the Rebbe in Sif Chas in the end of Tashemem Gimel, the Rebbe continues.
That Rebbe, the Rebbe's a word.
So Bagdama, that I heard, because even when the Rebbe starts, and it's almost like the Zohar that says that the Eibusha says he's taking Moshe Rabbeinu chamber upon chamber upon chamber. In the Maimer, it's almost like the same system, how the Rebbe takes Klal Yisrael to a chamber of an entire life, how a Yid could live his life. And then the Rebbe says, V'omek Yoser, there's a whole different life that a Yid who's connected to the Eibishter lives. And it's a whole different chamber. And even as the Rebbe lets us into this place, the Rebbe says that really we shouldn't go here. And really going back to the previous parts of the Maimer, that a Yid
Chaim.
kind of
That's the two tshuva.
the Getzel comes straight to Vayimekeiser. It comes gleich to Vayimekeiser.
The Getzel is overkill.
So,
the Rebbe's a
stop. I heard, I this whole, when I was learning the Maimer, I thought, it was a Yid, when I was in Muncie, I used to live across the street from Siddish Shtiebel. And the Yid there, his name is Rottenberg. A customer Siddish over there. Comes from Kossam. He was by the Rebbe, his father came from Menachem Avil. A very close shaykhah. So he told me, he said, you know what my chayas as a bacher was? One vart of the Frierdiker Rebbe gave me my entire chayas. and it's not printed anywhere. But he says, but I asked him, where's the print? He says, I know this is what we lived with. So I said, what was the Vart that you lived with? His father was a Rav in the Bronx, and it was a Yiddish area, and he was a Siddish Rebbe. So he said, what did we live with? A Vart of the Frierdiker Rebbe. What was the Vart of the Frierdiker Rebbe? It was like this. What is America? What's America? The Frierdiker Rebbe said, America is like this. Every country has certain midas tayvus, and the personality of the people that live in that place, the personality has midas tayvus and midas rois. They have certain midas rois. This one is this one's that. Ratzchonim, Ganovim, Shakronim, every midara. These guys are lazy, these guys lie, these guys are murderers, these guys chves. These guys are from B'nai Love, they're cheat. Every single midara in life you could have, you could find a certain country that excels in that midara. So what's the midara of America? So this is what he said in the name of Frierdiker Rebbe. What is midara of America? America is the gathering of all the nations. So the Eibishter took every single midara that's in every nation and gathered them into one country called America. That's the tie to America.
America.
America. So that said, and what's New York? What's New York? Manhattan. What's New York? New York is all the midas rice of the whole America gathered in one centralized place.
And the UN.
So what's the Hiras? The Frierdiker Rebbe said. This is what he said. The Frierdiker Rebbe said. So what's the Hira? A Yid belongs to New York. A Yid has nothing to do with being in Manhattan, New York. It doesn't belong. And he says this for him was like in his blood. That's coming to the He says this was by him like. This is how he grew up. This is his Yeah. That's it. So I asked him, where does it say? Whatever. He said this was like, he was like, are you serious? You never heard this Vart of the Frierdiker Rebbe? Said this was by us, like everything. This was the whole symbol of the Frierdiker Rebbe. This was the entire Starkheit of the Frierdiker Rebbe was to us in this Vart. He looked at me like I was like, how you talking? And really, this in the beginning of the Maimer, this is what the Rebbe is saying. And even as the Rebbe says Ba'omek Yoser, before the Rebbe actually explains a Ba'omek Yoser way, the Rebbe goes back to Al Tivienu L'Dei Nisoyin, and the Rebbe mentions it a second time in the Maimer, 2 times in the Maimer. And the Rebbe says that it's almost as if to say Echte V'Ashuv. That a Yid would say he's putting himself in a sayin, it's mamish al derech echte v'ashuv. So how could that be? And b'meila, before we open the next door, the Rebbe says, let's go back to the past door. A Yid's avoida, let's remind ourselves that from this Yud Shvat we have to come out with achlotis of Limud HaTorah, and Limud HaTorah be'iyun. Limud HaTorah in a way that we're learning about Alakos, and we're learning Gemara, and we're learning Chassidus, and Ein Yedei Makira, that a Yid doesn't know from the world, he doesn't know from everything. The only way he knows it is through learning Torah. And that's a Yid's life. And this is a Yid's life. Doesn't it say that we have to make a dir b'tachtonim? Doesn't the Rebbe send on shlichus? Doesn't the Rebbe want us to go on shlichus? So, what we're holding now in the Maimer, the Rebbe is telling us that the Eibishter will go on the shlichus. The Eibishter will take care of whatever inyan we see as an area that l'chayda we have to deal with. The Eibishter is going to deal with, and we have to learn about it. And the MS that we said, this is the curveball of the Maimer, because the bulk of the entire Maimer of Basilani this year is about Limud HaTorah. And even when we're talking about Tachtonim and dealing with Tachtonim, the pshat is learning about it. Because how could you tell Klal Yisrael that they should go and down Tachtonim. If there's a Yid in Klal Yisrael which could get affected by the Tachtonim, the Torah would not tell Klal Yisrael to go down in the Tachtonim. And therefore, how could you say, go down Tachtonim? So therefore the Rebbe says, it means this you could ask from every Yid. This you could tell every Yid. That a Yid has to learn about the Tachtonim. A Yid has to learn about the Avodah. A Yid has to learn about to refine the Tachtonim. And the Eibishter, and that refines the Tachtonim. Ba'oimek yoiser, and in a deeper way, the Rebbe says,
Sheer in life, it's not a sheer in the mind.
Ba'oimek yoiser, the Rebbe says that the Bleivitzke B'Titchev would chazer over in the Baal Shem Tov many times, that Hashem tzilcha. And this is why there was the whole entire beginning of the Maimer. Because the way a Yid goes into the world, the Rebbe says in this Maimer, is only through the beginning part of Limud HaTorah. That when a Yid learns Torah, and a Yid learns Torah in a way that he's connected to the Nois in HaTorah, then Hashem tzilcha. Hashem is his shadow. That the Eibishter does what a Yid does. And at that point, Hashem tzilcha, and literally in the Maimer, this is the, again, like we said, this is 2 lines in the Maimer.
The Rebbe brings a Maramakim for this Baal Shem. Sometimes it's called an Elamagi. Yoshe v'shoyne connected. That when a Yid learns Havaya Tzilcha, one of the Maramakim is Yoshe, you have a chavrut, there's a place I saw that was Hosta Besser Chedrosa. Yoshe v'shoyne connected.
So now, the whole Maimer turns around. The last 5 lines of the Maimer completely turns around. Literally within moments. And the Rebbe says that a Yid goes down to the world. And why does he go down to the world? Because the Eibishter is go down to the world. And all these things it says, don't bring me to a test, and this and that, that's when you're going alone. But when you're going with the Eibishter, Boyel Paroi, come with me, you're not having a test, you're with the Eibishter. The Eibishter's with you. But not in the way that you're 2 separate things. You're one with the Eibishter. He's kosher l'mayla. And therefore, he's matzliach. And therefore, like the Ramarash says, it's hatzlach in the way of the katchila river, v'chol derech hachadeu, and he's menatzeach, till in down lamata, is yor shem avaya l'leila, shagam lamata. And then the Rebbe ends off, that this should be b'mheira b'yameinu, that we finished the Avodah Birum, including shining the buttons, and the Rebbe said later that we already did this, and all the Tzivos Hashem go in the way of Bittul. We're at Sava, we're an army, which means we're in a state of Bittul, and every person receives the greatest treasure from the open hand and the holy and broad hand of the Eibishter, that every Yid in Galus sees Urba Meshvaisam immediately, right away. The Yidden go, Yoitzim biyadrama b'reish galei adem shiach tzikeinu b'gul mitzvah shema b'mheira b'yameinu mamish.
Amen. Ay, 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 tididida, ay, 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 ay,
If you feel you went in with the Eibishter, then you never go off. If you
Connected?
No, I'm asking.
One quotes Yud Shvat. Yud Shvat is Zorach Hashemesh Uba Hashemesh.
It's nothing.
First the Shemesh comes up, and then the Zorach, and then Avo Hashemesh. Aber der Eibischte didn't just Zorach Hashem. The Moshe.
Yeah.
Ah. Gatzel and Moshe. מתחיל מחדש.
You wait till you finish.
Moshe
the
great.
I'll let you guys alone. You're gonna say this over here.
But the Eibischte, yes, it's such a thing, Moshe. Moshe.
Also find myself.
Yeah.
Gallo, we have over here. Maxim brought. Where's Maxim? Oh, he's Maxim. Maxim. Gave the gas today.
Excellent.
Stop, Zorach Hashem, the Eibischte brought us on. Then there's the Hoitzi Chamom and Artikah. Hoitzi Chamom and Artikah means Shem Nidoilim Ba, and Tzadikim, Abramovich is gebenched with them. Abramovich was Misrata.
Jetzt ist es on. I thought it's when you Machshav Be'emes from the Tzias.
I had a Maisa from a Moshe.
It's in a Sichot.
Yossi.
If you Machshav Be'emes from the Tzias, that's the beginning of the
Even the Moed Asa has to get it.
Wow.
Yes. The Mitchell rate for
Two separate
Yida Yud
perspectives.
and also Yida Machadish is Chabes Forum. On the Rambam, 9 cents Forum. Rebbe would come out every day after Seder to see is he sitting there. He used to sit and everyone wanted to know who it is. To everyone. He has a koilel in Tziyonim in Borough Park. And Moshe reports that son of Moshe, it's a Rav in one of the shuls over here, like on Mardas. He is I think he did it. He's from the Magen of the Koilel. I don't know exactly what the official title. So he chazed a mice. I heard from him. You're hearing cliche. I heard from him. Kiddush. He said as in the Koilel is da banshak. Was it banshak? Banshak Kedushin. So Rebbe Shazun, that he doesn't stop learning for a second. Uratz. He stops learning from it. He takes a cup of tea, makes a bracha, like the Revis, you know, the ganze Alter Rebbe and say the Birks Anennen. We machen mir not kedei achelas pras, kedei shtias Revis, whatever. He drinks, makes a bracha, and runs back to the learning. The Kashi doesn't talk. One day he tells him, I have to tell you a Maisa, so this Maisa stands out in his mind. He tells him Azai, he was by his father, which is good to you, and someone comes over to him and says, I have to tell you a story. Aber Herr mit Cup. Yes.
Mit Hearts, was
mit Hearts. Actually, at this point, you know that Seichel is via Shatchem. You know, Seichel is like a Shatchem. It's only there to connect the Yid to the Eibishter mit Hearts. The second they got there, a Shatchem by the Chasana feels out of place. You know why? He was there, they were asking him questions. He's like, yeah, is it this, is it that? So by the Chasana, everyone is like uncomfortable from this guy. He remembers them from before they came. That's why the Farbengen, the Seichel, you know, yeah, but did the cat catch the mouse? And the Seichel hat zugeführt, und der Eibishter hat geholfen, dass beleid Gettlichkeit auf der Hergisch, auf Midas, weil der Asra, 100 Wochen im Menachas.
100%.
So, in Herzen. So he said, so he told him someone came to his father and said, his father's Manshak, his father's a Rebbe Shayid, and said he wants to tell him a story. His father, Nashat Aman, is going to describe to you a little bit what we got on Yud Aleph Shvat. His father came into Farbengen, and his father, not the person is telling this Gutta Yid, that his father came into Farbengen one day, and Yeshon Ber, he's sitting and listening to the Rebbe's Farbengen. And unlike some people that they listen to the Rebbe's Sikha and they're trying to, it's just supporting everything they know. And it's just, they're hearing themselves through the Rebbe. He was doing the, as a Pasha Tzugehet, he was listening. The Rebbe asks a Shaila on Rashi. Rashi, I'll tell you. Listen to this Rashi. Stimmt nicht the Dibra Maschil. The Rebbe starts zetzing questions. 1, 2, 3, 12, 14, 15 questions. It's like a grid, like Rabbi Yisrael Friedman's, like, you know, the Gemara ruckt sich nicht. Mamish, the Rebbe asks, lays down 15 shilas, and Rashi is. Then the Rebbe says, Bechlal is a Pella, the Pasuk bestimmt nicht. And based on this, it's interesting that Rashi used as a nusach, if the marker that he's using, Tanchuma, steht da nicht. And based on that, the Rebbe explains, Rashi came to explain something else, and all 15 kashas fall. I'm saying this because everybody takes it for granted. Bekitzer, alle 15 kashas fell with one change of angle. And then I was like the Rebbe, based on this, that's what Rashi is coming to explain. It's like the Rebbe, Rashi is the Chiyena Shel Torah, Trumas HaMidrash. Mela, the Rebbe goes through and starts explaining Rashi with his shinu, what it means in Avodas Hashem. He was blown away. Kimnish gehet as a nusach. So when they started Nigunim, Miravi line, he didn't know what the minig in Lubavitch is. Boom. Go straight to the Rebbe. He goes straight up, you know. And he comes to the Rebbe and he says, Chabazoi hanuah gehat in the Divrei Torah. So geschmack. And it's mamish given. That I remember. That's the nusach he said. Chazoi hanuah gehat from the Divrei Torah, and he said more. The Rebbe is sitting and looking, ernst. And then the Rebbe says to him, the Rebbe says, Hast mir Mahane given? Lang leben sollst du. Sita li hanoah. Tichya chaim arukim. You gave me nachas ruach. You should live a long life. So he's telling, this is all his son is telling the Gutta Yid, my father just passed away. I think he was 105, 106. Something. I need to ask Moshe Reish Nachamo. What zok is the Maisa? We are all, I want to tell you, we are all foot soldiers. Even the Mardasa. It's all foot soldiers. And we're gonna do anyways what we need to do. But to be able to finish a Maimer, finish a Sich and Zogn, and die to have a Gishmak, and then gis the Rebbe Brachas. Because for Chmurat Chsidim, for Chmurat, Yatzel has very fancy English. Zog.
Kalamutna.
That's what it was. For Chmurat, Atzos is a melancholy.
It's the
Russian word, chmura.
Chmura. Sad, but it's like in Yiddish, chmura. Chmura.
Kalamutna.
Right. It's to have. That's not how you go out to a battle. Nishmat. That's not the Rebbe's conquering things with the zacha. Shouldn't I? Someone wrote to the Rebbe that he asked for a brach. It's a ksav yad. You could see it. The Rebbe writes. He wrote to the Rebbe, "I'm asking a bracha. I shouldn't be mekalkel. What I should do. I shouldn't. What I do. I shouldn't chas v'shalom be mekalkel." So the Rebbe says, to sit and do nothing, maybe you'll be mekalkel. The Rebbe zucht people, and for them you have to be able to have a gishmak. We are foot soldiers, we do what we're told. We're in Deir Shvi, we have to let you do Lamata about it. We have to, you have to be, you know, there's a Spasiba Rebbe. There's a video that I ever watching Hanukkah Live. Hanukkah Live in Bays, it was a two-way feed.
Satellite.
Huh?
A satellite.
Yeah, the satellite. They were talking, the Rebbe was so the one that lit by the Kaisel was a child and said, and he lit and he thanked the Rebbe for getting this Yaldei Chernobyl. The Rebbe saved not the Ruchnis, the Rebbe saved the Gashmis Pasha. They were going, up it. So he says, he finishes his psukim and he says, Spasiba Rebbe. The Rebbe get a gishmak, a shmeichel. I want to tell you why. Because the Mardasha's father, Reb Shalom Mordcha, said in Postville he feels like the Rebbe. He came in and 200 behemoths pick up their head. 200, they look at it. The Rebbe needs Chevre Vazogen Spasiba Adain for such Giluim. They appreciate what they learn, you understand? A Yid told the Rebbe has me gegeben Hanuah. And the Rebbe had gegossen za lang leben sollst du. We learn a Sicha Lamed L'Shoin Chaloima Adain Rebbe. What would we look like? We would look like Shon Mordechai's cows. I mean, it's showing better than other people's cows, but We have to be. Don't do the avodah doira shvi with your hand. Was this something twisted arm? You know. Nicht azay, nicht azay. Weise. I want to say. I don't want to be practice for a second. I want to be practice. I want to be practical. I want to tell you that not all the time we have there's a.
Thank you.
The Mardas is something else. Maybe also to be simple people. Not always are you on a high. And I want to tell you in Basi Lagani we learned that the oitzris are nishpachim for who? Mardasra. For the Anshei Achayil, the simple people, all the whole budget goes for the simple people that struggled. Yeah? No. Yeah? No. You know what? Oi, yeah. Simple foot soldiers. They're conquering land. That's what they're doing. They're just doing it. They're not like the Chashav Chevra sitting in the offices and thinking, what should Lubavitch do? You know? Like our mother Dasa. The simple people, the hard-working people, that's who the king pours his oitzes. I'm not saying any chidushim. It says it in Basi Lugani. And you know what it means, the simple people? The people that have to appreciate kol dechiyah. They live from minute to minute. You know, we're matzliach again. Kol dechiyah. But we still need to keep an eye on the fact that a person that has chassidus has to be a gvir. I just want to give you a window into the Mardasa. That a gvir, we have to be. The Rebbe Rashab said he wants his chassidim to be like gvirim. A difference between a gvir and a poor person yad lapeh, from paycheck to paycheck. It's called. How am I going to survive the month? Hour to hour. Fill the hours now. A gvir is already drained. You know, the money is drained for him also, and he's drained. The Rebbe Rashab wanted his chassidim to be gvirim. Not only begashmis, he wanted a chassidim. Don't be desperate in godliness. Don't be desperate. What should I do? I need inspiration. You ever saw Zacha? Inspire me, Rabbi, inspire me. With one Sefer Atanya that you have pocket size, it's an atom bomb.
Yeah.
It's enough to pick up the whole Elam Hazak Ashmi Bachumri, to put it in smoke, turn it into Ruchni. I'm not saying that we don't live Kol Dechiyah. Every little success, victory, every victory. But together with that, you have to know that you're sitting on Pashat. It's like the Arabs. Mezitztaf afneft. You're sitting on billions. One Maimer Chassidus, you're sitting on billions of dollars. It's fine. You're channeling it right now into another success, but no. When you open a Sefer Chassidus, don't look at it like. Let me try the. No, the Reichkeit.
No.
And know that the Rebbe appreciates Kol Dechiyah. It's not that the Rebbe appreciates. The Rebbe tells you that Shalosh is after Ma'ayin. The Elta Zayda was the king's ancestors were saving these treasures for you to have this small success because you're Kenanas al Gabe Anak. You're like the midget on top of you. Little success. Your little success is at the end of the day opens the dam. Then the Ala Giluim from the Alter from Zalman Zezmer and the Pinchas Roizes, Ala Grois Chassidim will march through. Your little Dechiyah. But don't minimize Chassidus while you're at it. We are small people, but recognize that you're sitting on neft. I'm saying you're sitting on big oitzes. Because when a guy sits and he knows in his bank account, be'etzem, he has enough to support America. Right now, he's on a tight budget because it's allocated for something. It's okay as long as you know that we're not running out of steam. Deira Shvi, ein maimer. Ein Maimer, wie hat Pesach mal Stavke gesagt, one time to say the word Eurein Seif. One time! He knocked on the shutters from his the brother, the Misnagin.
Was nou eens dan?
His
Reiche
brother.
brother.
Reiche brother. He had a brother that was supporting him.
Reiche niet.
It was a big veer, and then he lived in Torah Baba. Then his brother was a veer. He was a yid, and every time he wanted a little gal to help his mishadach his daughters, he would come and show him his whole house. He would show him, I have a room with another room, and from that room you can get into another room, and I have a sheet that they match the draperies from the dust, and the zaken could also match those draperies. Right? הוא היה כל פעם שהוא רצה,
לא הבנתי את המשפט
אז זה חשוב מאוד. He wanted, זה היה הכל לעתים, זה theme. יש איזה היום, I want to just tell you, to the merit of the Mard Asra, זה זכת ביחסידים הזה, you come to Upshare Nation, sure, the flowers, so passing the number 3, it's written on the balloon near the door. Good, but everything is not the Milo Tikdosha, as long as it's part of the Gedlach Enyanim. So and at some point it became too much for the Pesach. That's about him. He once, the Rebbe Chazed this Ma'aser Rav, and the Rebbe is laughing, you hear the Rebbe laughing. Says, so at some point he told him, I think it's a Pesach, the Rebbe doesn't say the name. There's one Chaya that's licked, is laying till the nose in Blata, Edel Gerat, in Blata, and it's thinking the whole time one thing: why can't I go over the nose? Why can't I have a little more? It should be over the nose, but he wants to be able to breathe. This is under the nose. So Bekitza, I want to tell you, this is also part of stepping back and realizing was Merhabim Deirash Shvi Hanachas Eilam by Lubavitcher is such a chiddush that we feel a yid should feel uncomfortable living bizdinos in matching time at the zah. This Hanachas Eilam, don't claim ownership and don't be very proud of it. We got a matana from the Rebbe. Until you feel that it's for granted and you say, oh, Kenshin Zechlani, Machem Sushi. So the kids are, so the Pesach, every time his brother would take him through his whole house. Every time he wanted a donation, he had to see Yakar, Tiferes, and Gulasa, he would show him all the rooms. At some point, Sigurah and Sufil, it became too much. So one time he was after Farbengen, and he, as they described, he started banging on the shutters. It came 2 o'clock in the morning, and the shutters, where they closed, the windows shouldn't pop. There should be another layer. And he's banging. His brother opens the window, then opens the shutters like Pinchas. It doesn't say that in the story, but at 2 o'clock in the morning, at 4 o'clock, he says, one time to say the words Eirein Seif, one time to say the words Eirein Seif is worth more than everything you have. All the rooms, all this stuff. One time to say the words. I'm just saying, it's like a pastor that we call the Chia, and then say the Chassidus, and the Eibush there, I want to tell you, it's not only the Bible, it's everything. In our Doir, Kolskin, a Yid that has a smartphone, Rahman al-Islam, no, then he has a filter. Mit the filter is a shine. I was just an hour with the Rebbe, Tzmimim, no smartphones. It's called an hour with the Rebbe, just with the Rebbe. There was no smartphone there. I was in the Ghana. Just even though I called the Chia is a huge thing. And I want to tell you, I saw a video that Rebbe Lag Baimer. The Rebbe says, the Rebbe sagt, a yidische a yingala der Mädel, a yidische yingala der Mädel, macht a bracha shahakol niya bidvare. I want to tell you, these words are like kemayim karam al nefesh hayefa. It's not a pilpulin, it's pashut getlichkeit b'pshittis there. A yingala Mädel eats a piece of bread and they say, or a drink, shahakol niya bidvare. When you hear it from the Rebbe's Lashon, you hear shahakol niya bidvare. Everything was brought into existence. I can't explain it. It's the Pirush HaMilas. We all learned also. You hear Emes Havaya Leila. Everything that Rebbe is miyaker, but just remember that Chassidus is Pashat Oitzis. We're sitting on Pashat. We're Gvirim. The Rebbe Rashab wanted that Chassidus should be Gvirim. Pshat is that a man, the pashta pshat, a poor person, if he lost $100,000, $1 million, sorry, a poor person gained $100,000. He became a gvir. No, he's still thinking penny to penny how he's going to budget this, which is stretch, and he's going to listen to whatever and lose the whole thing. A gvir that lost $1 million. He's in chayvus, he's in debt, he's a gvir. In his mind, as I dreht sich. Azoi, the Rebbe Rashab wanted, a chassid is a gvir. He made a mistake. He didn't have the best day. What happened? As makara. Ois gvir, kara. But he knows that he yoshev al buchtot. Yes, he has a maimer chassidus, one maimer. Kolshkein. He has the whole Torah. He has but one boss in the garden. Every word. That's the Rashab. You should never look at yourself like a other man. Even called the Chia, and we have to appreciate it. I want to tell you, common sense is not so common. And you have to appreciate I want to tell you, a person being able to focus for 5 minutes on his mishpacha, on his children, on a shtickle homework shlita, on learning a psabissel, without, it's a chiddush. But don't forget, because of that, what gasoline you're driving on. Where that's a strike. For us is poured all for the pshutei achayil is all the oitzes, because it's all for this last dirt. And we have to remember this dechiyat chiyah, the simple foot soldier. We have to do the homework. You have to learn Nocha Mishnah with the kinder. You have to be more focused. That's what negis the oitzes for. This is where it's all at. But don't forget the Reichkeit. Don't forget. Chaim. Ashreinu Matei Chalkeinu Ashreinu Matei Chalkeinu Manoyim Manoyim Noyim Gedoleinu
Oh my Yava.
Hey, oh my Yava.
I have it. I'm already on the other side.
You doubt it.
Chaim.
You even doubt that.
Chaim Moshe.
Yeah.
They're sweet.
Time.
When you didn't Farbengen, I wasn't here from the beginning, so I wasn't able to give the disclaimers before Manda started Farbengen. But it's very important. Because all wissen, you have to know what you're doing. And what you're doing, the kitzer, because I have to get past the disclaimer. But the
No disclaimers.
I'll tell you why, because I walked in over here, and I didn't understand what was going on.
What were you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm sure in context it made a lot of sense, but to me it was a little bit. Farbengen is outside. I don't want to say it's sound like I'm criticizing. I'm not criticizing. But I'm saying what's important to realize that Farbengen is a time not to learn new things. It's a time to believe the things that you already learned. It's time to live. It's a time for das. Chachma Bina is a shir. And das is a Farbengen. The Rebbe is der Shvi Larishon. The Rebbe took the Nesias of Chassidus Chabad, and it's Chabad. It's not Chochma, it's not Chab, it's not Chochma Bina, it's Chochma Bina Das, because the Alter Rebbe was looking
to Chodev Chassidim that you take what you know, you take Chochmah, you take Bina, and you bring it into Das. And that's the point. And that's why we sing about Farbengen. And that's why we chazer things that we heard a million times before. Mechazer to Mekai to Meret. You want to digest it. You want to experience. You want to feel it. You want to bring it to life. And you want to let it shape you and let it change you and let it make you a different person than you were before. We say Avram Zakim Baba Yamim. We're led a few parishes later already. But Avram Zakim Baba Yamim. So state in Sifrei Kabbalah, state in the Zohar, I think already. That what's Baba Yamim? What do you mean Baba Yamim? So the English art school will tell you Baba Yamim got old. The Zohar will tell you Baba Yamim means that he came to the Eibishter with all the days that he had. So that was he came with all the days that he had. Because a person could live a life, and he experienced a certain number of days, but some of the days they just passed him by. They didn't leave a mark. They didn't. Garnish nicht mitgenommen. Moshe knows there. Some people have the opposite problem. Someone has it recently. The story. So a lawyer, he got into a car crash at the age of 33, and he died. He went to Shemayim. So he came marching in there before they had a chance to start asking him questions. He bangs on the table and says, "What kind of business is killing a guy at 33 years old?"
Yeah.
He says, "Why? He's not 33, you're 95. He says, "No, look at my birth certificate." He said, "We didn't look at your birth certificate. We look at your hours, your billable hours." We thought you were 95. So this is people with we have the opposite problem. We can live 95 years and you look at our billable hours and it looks like we're 33.
Yeah.
The Kudah is a chassid has to be a Baba Yamim, right? If we're going to sit down Yud Aleph Shvat, Yud Shvat, Avram Avinu is Baba Yamim because every day he took something from that day into the next day. He didn't go to Yud Beis Shvat without taking something with him from Yud Aleph Shvat, and he didn't go to Yud Gimel Shvat without taking something with him from Yud Beis Shvat. And he stood in front of the Eibishter and he was a Baba Yamim. You looked at him and you saw the shape of every day he ever lived. And that's something that's an accomplishment of Das. That's not something that we achieve through Chochmah. It's not something we achieve through Bina. It's something we achieve through Das.
Yeah.
And that's what the Rebbe, and that's something that you have to accomplish also for yourself. It's a Farbengen is not something you could give somebody. If somebody's not interested in learning, but you say something insightful, you say something new, and he hears it, so he has it. He doesn't have to consent to hear the Vart. You said the Vart, he heard it. You can't Farbengen at somebody. And you can't sit by Farbengen and not invest and walk away different. Das is something that was without Farbengen. That's why the Rebbe, who came to teach us Das, gave right after the Maimer of Basi Lagani, he said, "I'm here to help you. I'm not here to live for you, I can't. I'm here to help you. The Avodah Avstalinton. Don't fold your arms and think that I'm going to do everything and you're going to sit in the back and patch me the Endlach. You have to do the work because Das is something was without Farbengen. This is the shit of the Alter Rebbe, Yedua, and it's the shit of Chabad, and it's the shit, and it's what the Rebbe wants from us, and that's why, and that's why Reishas Avodah is a Farbengen. And Kenish Farbengen, I'm not was the Farbengen, but everything before the Farbengen is a Hachana. And the Farbengen is where it comes down into Das. That's where it comes. So it's not so much about hearing new things. It's about absorbing old things, about absorbing emes that you maybe already have. Maybe you have to learn it new by the Farbengen. You can do two in one. But that's the Evan HaBoichin. That's what defines the Farbengen. That's what defines Avodah. That's what we're doing here. We sat around the table to Farbring. We sat down to open our, not to open our minds, to open our hearts, and to open our and to be ready to change, like Mendel likes to say, to stand up a different person. And in that light, every word, it could be a word that you heard already, but you're listening to it differently. You're listening. You're being makabel. You're absorbing it, and then you're doing something about it. I was learning today Hayim Yayim, And I noticed something very interesting. Today's Yom Shvat, so after the Rebbe tells us a tikkun, a Toras Atfus, a tikkun seifrim in Torah Eir, he tells us about Rebbe Rivka. Rebbe Rivka was the Baba, and it was her yard site on Yom Shvat, and Basi Lagani was officially prepared for the yard site. And the Rebbe in Yom tells us that when she was very young, she was 18 years old, and she developed a heart condition. And the doctor told her that she has to eat right when she gets up. And I think from the Yom it doesn't go into the detail, but it seems like she did for a short kufa, but then when she started feeling a little better, so she decided that she should not eat bread. But anyway, the kids in the Hayom it says that she couldn't stomach, pun intended, she couldn't stomach the idea of eating before davening. So she came up with an eitzah. She wakes up every day at 7 o'clock, let's say, for example. And so the doctor said to eat right when you wake up is another event that I should eat right away at 7 o'clock. Okay, no problem. So I'll wake up at 6 o'clock, I'll daven, and when 7 o'clock comes, I'm going to eat right away. Mm-hmm. So when the Tzemach Tzedek heard about this, he called her in. And it doesn't say this in the Hayom Yom, but it's a very interesting Nakuda. And elsewhere it tells a story that Rebbe writes that the Tzemach Tzedek told her that davening is when you're tired. In other words, I'm about to tell you something, don't misunderstand that the davening is not important. The davening is when you're tired. Your davening is very precious. But, since you can say that, and the Rebbe says something very, very interesting. If you look in the Hayom Yom, the Rebbe says, a Yid darf sein gesund und aber auch kayach, right? It steht l'chai ba'em, right? What's taich l'chai ba'em? If allein bring l'chai is in mitzvahs. So the grace of Bali Nigla, like Mendel, will realize right away that that's an unnecessary step, one step too far. What is the limud of a chai b'hem is a chai b'hem le'shamus b'hem. That's right? What's the limud of a chai b'hem? Mitzvahs were given v'chai b'hem. They were given to you to Lebedik and mention as 11. And if they're going to bring chayvashon hepachachayim, so this not for that. The mitzvah was not given in those circumstances to keep it that way. So he should have said, "Jeder sein gesund und steigert gesund und aber kayach." V'chai b'hem, v'lo yishamus b'hem. Darf essen. Besser essen for ein davening, we daven for an essen. Right? And the emes is, if you go that way, the rest of it doesn't really make sense, because what's the besser essen for an, you're not supposed to do this. It's a koach nefesh, eat. Why didn't he go straight to the point? What's v'chai b'hem? V'chai b'hem is taich giving ganz anders. Not v'chai b'hem that the Yid should live and should do mitzvah. He teaches v'chai b'hem, v'chai, du sollst bringen chayes b'hem in the mitzvahs. It's a ganz andere Sache, and obviously it doesn't take away from the Pashut Pshat. Was a Bal Nigla wird gelernt, and was a Sachiden in this way, in Api Allah, Yirei Mushleimu. But there's something missing there. It's describing two types of life. V'chai b'hem, v'lei shomus b'hem is describing a person who is living a life that is defined or organized around life, around eating, around drinking, around living. Comes a mitzvah, and the mitzvah is adding to his life as an additional charais, an additional thing. So he does it. And then comes the pasuk v'chai b'hem that if these mitzvahs that are coming in to be davar neisef in your life are going to disrupt your life, take away your life, that's one way of looking at. That's one way of being a sadhana. The other thing is no, v'chai b'hem. Your life is your role is to bring a chayas to the mitzvah. Your life is going to be the mitzvah. You're going to bring the neshama. You're going to bring the ruach into the mitzvah. It's a totally different life. The Masmana is the same, the Pasuk is the same, but the Levin is an andere. You're not talking about a truk in the halacha, you know, the Pekuach Nefashis. That this is a Levin, but this is a Chassidische Levin. So Rebbetzin and Rivka, the Rebbetzin and Rivka, the Tzemach Tzedek said, that's not the meaning of Chai B'hem for you. For you, Chai B'hem means that you have to bring a life to your Torah and your mitzvahs. How are you going to do that if you don't have Koyach? It's a totally different Anocha. It's a totally different Levin. In andere Wörter, a Levin on das, a person could do, and then we're there Shvi, so we know very well what it means to do with Kabbalah Soil, just to do Truk in the Hate, and just to do Avos Madarf. But this is a life where there's no connection between the Chachma and the Binah and the Maisa B'Poyel. The Chachma Binah L'chud, the Maisa B'Poyel L'chud, and you're just dealing with V'chai that the Torah Mitzvah should be in a way that's not a stir to life. But a Yid, a Chassid, who is a Chassid of Nesei Chabad, and his life is Kuli Kodesh. His life is a life which is permeated with Das, where his Chachma Binah, it comes into contact with his Yiddishkeit. It comes into contact with the Mitzvah. The mitzvah is a lichtike, the mitzvah is a lebedike. That's what it means, B'chai B'hem. And that's why he says, Besser, Essence, Faran Davin, we Davin to the Besser. It's not a, if it's a child Pekuach Nefesh, it's not Besser does, Eder does. But you have to eat. There's no Besser does, Eder does. But if you're going to say that, the Doretz Leden Aveda, and you want to be Mekayim your mitzvah of, your shlichus in life, to bring Elikus into the world and into the mitzvahs, that to them, so there's different ways to do it. You want to do it right, best Essen for Davin, and we Davin for Essen. Because what's the Negeya is that this Indian of V'chai B'hem is the Indian of Basil Gandhi, is the Indian of Bira B'Tachtevin, where you were told that it's our mission to bring Elikus Ba'ilum. And we can't lose sight of the fact that we're the Ilum Katan Zeh Ha'adam, and not only is it something that we also have to bring Elikus into the world, we also have to bring Elikus into our heart and into our life. When you say in davening, we say V'hei Hashem Melech Al Kol Haaretz. Before we say Hashem Melech, right? Who's saying Hashem Melech? You're saying Hashem Melech. In other words, you say Hashem is my king right now. Makabel Malchus. Hashem Melech. Hashem was my king. That means yesterday, before I had this Clarkite, and I was bathing this Yisrael to Zayn, Hashem was still my king, Mishas Maisa, so I have Tshuvaton. And Hashem Yimlech Levad, I am bringing myself to a Clarkite that the Eibush is my king and will continue to be my king, nothing changes. And you have to say that twice. Like you were saying before, you used to say Ein Sof one time. It doesn't mean it's not to say the syllables Ein Sof. It means to connect it in the Kudah, to say Hashem Melech and to not to quote David Melech, not to quote the Psukim, to say yourself Hashem Melech, Hashem Melech, Hashem Melech, and then you come to V'hei Hashem Melech Kol Haaretz. So it's not a Kedim of Disman because we don't have time for that. But it's a Kedim in Maila. In order for you to be successful in bringing Elikus V'olam, it has to be V'chai B'hem. It has to be a mitzvah that is permeated with life, that's permeated with fire, with energy, with excitement, and that's Pshat V'chai B'hem, and that's how you're going to do it. And the Eitzah, that's how you do it. How do you bring the chayes into your mitzvahs? So there's the old story, it's a story or a joke, but they say that it tells us that the Bachrim, you know, Moshe, the Torah didn't used to serve supper. Torah used to serve Suda Shabbos. They sent the Bachrim to the Balabati to eat the family. So the David Raskin told them, why he sent them out, he said, listen, when you, after the meal, go over to the Balabaska and tell her the food is delicious, thank you very much. Okay, so they go to the meal and they have a 3-course to 4-course meal, a Shabbos meal, a kiddush, a fish and salad, a soup, and a thing, and dessert. And after they finish, they stand up and they put on their jacket and they say, Rebbetzin, David Raskin said the food is delicious. And thank you very much. So we laugh about it, but that's how we live our Yiddishkeit. And that's how we daven. We say, Anshei V'Yisecha. What are we really saying? If we would translate it honestly, we would say, Eibishter, David HaMelech said that whoever sits in your house is lucky. Right? We're quoting David HaMelech. We're not actually saying ourselves, Viva Unskum place. And that's why we feel that Turkin Adabanan, a Turkin Tfilin, a Turkin everything. Whatever it is, a person is Turkin or cow, can not resign. It's impossible. Like some of the Shaykhs in the Basilagani talks about how could he get the Chal do it? A Yid is Shaykhs to Turkin or cow, it's not possible. How could a Yid be Turkin or cow if he's not Zayn Yiddishkeit, if he's not davening Zayn Levein, if he's not saying his words? So of course it comes out Turkin to read somebody else's words. There's no fire there. There's no v'chayban. You want it to be v'chayban, you have to own. You have to take ownership of everything that you do. You should be nish gemacht. You own it. And that's what the Rebbe saying. Ladies can fake you're not going to quote me. Now 50 years of the 60, 70, 80 years. How many years? I don't know my math. Since Tashiyud. 70 years. Don't spend that time quoting me. I want you to say it. That was the Rebbe's big time when it came to Ad Masai. You're quoting me? Amy said the Rebbe said Ad Masai. You say Ad Masai, right? And that's the Rebbe's kind to us from Tashiyud, Yud Aleph, Tashiyud, all the way until Tashiyud, Beis Tashiyud, and beyond. The Rebbe wants us. The Rebbe says, you bring a chayas into what you're doing, that you should say the words Alein Gezak. So how are you going to do it? You have to pump the brakes, and you have to ask yourself, what are you about to say? What are you about to do? What does it mean? Why are you doing it? So you're doing it Kabbalah, so not take away Kabbalah. But what are you doing? You're putting on tefillin. You're connecting your heart and your mind to the Eibishter. And do that. So do that. Whatever statement that is that you're making, so you're putting on tefillin, be misatzim with the thing that you're saying, with the thing that you're doing, and say it. Not shulchan so that you put on tefillin. Not like the people that say that nachem leimer kodim atfil hareini mekabel. Say hareini mekabel. And if you fall short, say Hashem Sham Mekabel. Don't say nachem leimer kodim atfil and think with them is the party about it, and you never accepted it. You accepted it by Hasineh, not with regard to Tafel. But this is an opportunity to say hareini. It's a tremendous thing to say. Hareini. Just say what hareini. To translate it, you're committed. I was afraid of commitment now. You say, you think hareini, I am committing, hareini, Mekabel lie, you just say, shall have to and stop and don't say it as a quote. Say it as a statement. You're not going to have a truk in a Gavana. You're not going to have a truk in a mitzvah. You're not going to have a truk in a yontif. Whatever you're doing, you do it. That's what the Rebbe wants from us. That's what it means. That's what it means Mashiach. That's what it means Mashiach HaPrati. That's what's going to mean Mashiach HaKlali. And that's what Shvat. That's what's happening in Shvat. The Rebbe is taking the Messias, and you should know. We don't know if we mentioned, but Kabbalas Messias is Kabbalas HaMalchus, and especially relevant in the year of Hakel. And this is a Hakel. We had it together. And the point is, a Yiddish melech is different than a Goyish melech. So the Eibush got very upset, The Eibush said, "Same to us, Malach HaMelech, Taryag Mitzvah, go make yourself a king." Then the Yidden came to Shmuel Navi and he said, "Shmuel Navi, we want a king," and they got it in pop. The Eibush was so upset. What do you mean upset? It's a mitzvah of the Torah. Problem was, they weren't asking for a Yiddish king. They wanted a king kachol habari. Not a king like a Yid. A Yiddish king, a Goyish king, Kol Mitzvah is, what makes him special? He's strong, he's smart. He was strong and he was smart before he was a king. When he became king, he didn't become stronger and smarter. What changed when he became king? The boys told me that the king in England is going to be crowned in the coming months or whatever. What's going to change the day before the day after? Why is he king? It wasn't a king, right? So we know in Melech Bolayam that he's king because everybody bowed down, right? So was member stutzt up, was gedacht erkennen gesagt. right? And that's why a king is always looking to give steigen and to give laws and to there's a lace field. Why? Because in them states and Graysky, that's his whole kingship. That's a Goyish king. A Yiddish king doesn't need to force him to do anything in order to be a king. He's a king because he's reflecting and representing the Malchus of Eibishter. He's Ba'etzim big. He doesn't need to be big because you're small. He's big because he's Ba'etzim big. And what that leaves place for is that you should also be big. For a Goyish king, he can't have anybody else big. Unless their bigness coming from under him and from him. The king, a Yiddish king, he lives place that you should do that bigger. And that's the Rebbe said, I didn't come here to replace you, I didn't come here to override you, I came here to help you. But you have to do the work. And today is the day that we have to accept the Malchus, means accept that relationship that we have with Rebbe, and all of our koyach, all of our chayas comes from the Eibishter through the tzaddik, through the Neshama Kol, through the Rebbe. And not that it is right that we're bottled to the Rebbe, we're makabel the Rebbe's gzeres, the Rebbe's takanas, the Rebbe's bakashas, everything. But mit dem Malm, the Rebbe says he only came l'sayaya. In other words, not to take away the responsibility, not to take away the job. He came for us to do the job, and so we're committing to that relationship. We're committing to that job. That we're going to actually do the job. And tomorrow by davening, you should take with you the mark of Yudal Shvat. That you should daven, take one part of davening, and the next day another part of davening. This is the Chassidim and Rishonim. They used to faknech a blettel. They used to make a bookmark in davening, right? You can't do that whole davening like that. You're going to take you 12 months. So they would say, how you do Hashem Kivishmei. So today they were nisatzim with that part of davening, and they expressed that part of davening. And then they had to run to, then it was already a few hours later they had to go. So they finished davening, with Pirush HaMilos HaPasuk. And the next day they started from the next pasuk. Like this they went through. Point is, tomorrow morning, it's later Chayke Yimcha. It's a process, it's something to grow, but it's not something that's beyond our abilities, not beyond your abilities, not beyond your schedule. Take a small part of davening. Take a mitzvah, it doesn't have to be davening, it could be a different mitzvah. And be nisatz and do it. Do it. Don't quote it. Don't demonstrate, don't be a diagram like in the back of the course and learn what it looks like at film. You're demonstrating. No, you're being Mekasher, your heart, and you're Mekasher, your mind. And stop a second and do that. That is that's Basa Lagani. In that moment, you're not in the vicinity of the Eibishter. The Eibishter is in you, and the Eibishter came to the garden, came to the Nasham, never to the Never Yisrael, and you'll do that. And you'll continue to do that, and that's going to be bringing the Dir B'Tachtenim in your heart and in your mind. And azay the began b'chelke ba'olam. Chaim.
Chaim and Rochel.
Bam bam bye da 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 bam bye da da bam bam bye da da bam hey la 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 da 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 Chaim. You need to be lichtig chasidim. Freilich chasidim. Lichtigkeit.
My Zayda, the theme of the day, but in a way, besides for all that, is Asher Motev Cholkeinu. I said you for bringing about it before. So it's just interesting. My Zayda, Allah Shalom, Binyamin Dan Ben Shmuri Huda, my mother's father. So he came to Lubavitch. His mishpacha had a shaykh to Lubavitch, and his father was told that the Zuchen of Emes that was given in 770. They weren't traditional. They were a place. They had a shaykh to Lubavitch. Anyway, he got to know this Mendel who lived in his neighborhood in Long Island, and he was in Skyrim, and he came to Lubavitch, and he was very stark the Numan. He was a ish sipurim. He would say stories. Everything was a story by him. The koyach of a story is an inkar makom harich, but story is a very powerful thing. But he grew up. He was in the army, and he was a structural engineer. He was but he grew up in a time. He came to Lubavitch. He said that one of the things that a few things caught his attention. The Avos Yisrael and the connection between the Zkenim and the Na'arim. A few things he mentioned. One of the things that he was reminiscing about. The
connection between skin and none.
In those days,
the older people.
In those days,
like
there was a big panic. They talk about the generation gap. It was the younger verstehen nicht älter. You remember?
Yeah.
And he came into 770 and saw how a Yid with a language about is sitting and engaged, talking something in the first Bren, he's talking to Sarah Chitzikos, 8-8-year-old Bachel, and they're going at it, not antagonistically, they're discussing it, and he's saying something, and he's listening to what he has to say, and he's responding to it, and just the seamlessness of it, that they're strapped out in ein Richtung, everybody was pulling in the same direction, with and with respect, that they're certain their numbers. He saw that he was a very practical person, an engineer, a very practical person. He said, "This is mit dem kemen halben Kinder." That's what really pushed him to be in the sky of Bechlaut Yiddishkeit. And it was because he had kids, and he got that problem after Sibitz again. One of the things he was reminiscing in the later years is that he was missing it. He was looking back and thinking, he said, Chassidim Chabad would walk around with a lash stolz. He remembered because he grew up in the Tkufa right after the bomb, the nuclear bomb. Americans walked around like they were a different bria, a different species. We have the bomb. What are you, a bunch of you guys are making fire with sticks? What are you going to tell me? What it was that day no? He saw the same attitude by Lubavitch. Not in the down, putting anybody down or anything, but the stolz and the. It was no bar plukta. We have the Rebbe, and whatever he didn't see it as strongly in the last 30 years. We have to return to that. We every time we find ourselves, that's a big problem.
Change.
The Rebbe is the Rebbe, and the Welt is the Welt, and the Welt is nicht gemeint Damer, and we get so apologetic sometimes. We verempfen that.
You never apologize.
I don't apologize because I don't know the words. I just don't know the words. But But we get defensive when we get as if midaf is for Adam and we have to be embarrassed. Took against Sayyid and then the ganze Emes. The Ava Bechibba versteht sich, but stand the Emes. And to stand up when we have to stand up, and to sit down when we have to sit down, and not to feel like there's not even an embarrassment. Midaf sich verämpfen when like a person a person gives a grapes, and there's someone else in the room. He feels very ashamed of himself. If there's a cat, he doesn't say
Maybe
anything.
he's proud of himself.
Okay, some people heintig could take it, and if they could sing a song while they're grapsing, it's noch aggressive. It's a big town. But B'chlal, to mention, if you're around other people and you make a bodily noise, you but if it's the family dog, they don't get so worked up about it. And tut nicht tun. I'm saying when the Rebbe and Chassidus is emes von einer anderen Welt. And the das balabatim is keif b'fnei Adam. So we have to feel defensive about das Torah. Das balabatim zok verkehrt, and we have to find a way to say it with 6-syllable words to explain why even the shita some maybe there's davenis in this makim. Not that they should do it, but that they should be sayful that we should do it. It comes from forgetting who we're connected to. We have to remember we're connected to the Beit Elam Manigay, we're connected to Shvat, and we have to reclaim some of that Asis Metzah, some of that Stolz. Not that we there's no dusiach here, there's no bar plukta, there's no one to talk to, there's nobody to be defensive in front of. Not we have to for them we have to tiny the chayes mit zich. Kushn Tachas was zich. How often do you tell yourself Kushn Tachas?
You have to bring the picture.
We just said nicht, it's doch zehn und nicht sagen. Das sagen die ganze mit aller Issues. When was the last time you had an impulse and you told yourself Kushn Tachas? That's what a skafi really is. It doesn't matter what you do in the skafi. The ikr is the feig. Talking them around. You want that potato? No, you're going to eat that potato. That's what I have because his whole why? I mean why? Because I said so. Yeah. The ability to do that is a nuclear bomb, and it comes from Torah, it comes from Rebbe, and we have to reclaim it. To be apologizing. I'll stuff in first day, I'll stuff in Mazdan. Maxim could tell you the Russian starting point is very different than the American starting point.
I will tell you that.
Right. We'll just shake with your head. You'll ask me that's going to be enough. I just need to ask comment. The Russians, they were bred that there's a czar, and when you start stuff in first day, you start off as a you go to university, become an engineer later. It's also good, but underneath it all, it doesn't have to make sense. The world doesn't. The world doesn't have to make sense. The thing doesn't make sense. If Americans, if something is not understood, if something is not fair, something is not.
One second.
Stop.
Hold on.
Stop.
Hold on. Did I get up this morning? What's my name?
You have to justify yourself. You have to explain yourself. Explain. And this is something we have to write boys, because it's a big obstacle in Avodas Hashem and it's unnecessary. The emphasis that so you'll tell me that it's hafcha. This is an ongoing thing we always talk about. That people think that Lubavitch is about his hafcha, and it is, but his hafcha is impossible if it doesn't come after his hafcha. You can't tell me that you're holding your phone or that you're eating this food because of the reasons that you decided. Why are you eating pizza? Because I'm being starting Sachen zum Makabel sein beim Mashiach zu kennen. Yeah? And if I said no, you can't have the pizza, what's the result? If you can't say no, then you can't tell me why you said yes. You said yes because you had to say yes, and you're dressing it up in a fig leaf after. You have to be able to say no. I don't do that. Why? Because I don't do that. Why? Because I don't do that. Oh, now I'm going to do it. So what change? Why doing it? I'll tell you why I'm doing it. But if you don't have the skafia, there's no ishapcha. You're the main yourself. And this all starts from the skafia. That's what happens. This is shtus the kedusha. Shtus the kedusha means it doesn't have to make sense. If I care, the fact that it doesn't make sense is a mila. It shows that it's coming from etzem. It's not coming from because yeah, just what comes on verkehrt. Comes on anders. Etzem.
What?
Shtus the kedusha doesn't make sense. And the fact that it doesn't make sense is a hichacha on the that it's mushroom stiffer. Because something that doesn't make sense doesn't come from seichel. So where's it coming from? It's coming from ratzon. It's coming from etzem. It's coming from somewhere deeper than seichel. Once it makes sense, so it's coming from further away from the nefesh.
Everything Mendel says is from Etzem.
100% doesn't make sense. It never makes sense.
That's what it makes.
And tonight we is. That's why it has such a strong impact.
Okay.
Chaim.
Can you tell a story?